Welcome, everybody, to another live and amplified Indie Fusion podcast. We are here in person. It's actually the first time that we're doing it the way I envisioned it, just kind of a sit down like this, which is cool. I'm excited to have Dustin Brown joining us, the one and only, the genius behind all the great music you've been releasing recently, the In a Jam Down by the River Music Festival that happens down on the Guadalupe every October. Mm-hmm. So how's it been going, man?
All that. So, insanity.
Yeah, I feel that. It's so funny because you were one of the first people that I met when I came down to Waco right before the pandemic. I was trying to get like live and amplified entrenched here in town, and you were like, I think one of the first people that just kind of came across my radar, and you introduced, like, I had one guy on that I just kind of randomly met on Facebook. He introduced me to you. You introduced me to like 3 other people.
Oh, it just spreads out.
Yeah, and now we're here. So,
and to that point, that's a good thing. I'm not that I'm like very far down the road myself, but like, people just starting out that I meet, they're like, how do you do this? How do you do that? I'm like, or how'd you get onto that? It's like, man, you got to just, it's that like web of people. You got to go out and do it. You got to hang out and one little kernel. And the same thing for if you're like an artist, you go, somebody you found even on Facebook, Instagram, whatever, you go to the open mic that they're at. Yeah. And then next thing you know, a year later, like the whole scene and stuff. You just got to like put yourself out there. But,
yeah, for sure.
And some of those roads you probably shouldn't go down. Then you find the right road. Like, okay, these are the people I need to be hanging out with.
It's kind of funny because half of these people that I've had on the podcast or I've met through you or through In a Jam, if it wasn't for In a Jam, I probably would never get to see them play because I'm always so dang busy. Yeah. It's like, I try and come see you play whenever you're because you're still down in Austin right now, or are you back up in Dallas?
Back to the insanity. I've got a spot in Fort Worth, but I've been working in Bastrop. So, and they have a company house they put us in. So I've just been down there. Nice. Really for the past year. And then Kevin Wade Johnson, our back row king, he's been like house sitting my house / like, just like paying the utilities and hanging out there. So, it looks like I'm going to be on this contract starting in December another year. So another friend of ours, Cody, he was talking the other day. He's like, hey, you got a room? I'm like, all right, this might work out. So I'll get basically maybe this time next year they'll be renting my place and I'm just going to be down in
Bastrop.
Yeah, till I can, because it's a good contract. So make a little money to pay off all this recording debt and festival debt and life debt. Yeah. And hopefully this time next year, I'll be like free again and I can just like coast a little bit and still work, but go back to the way I used to, where I work like a week out of the month and then go back to gigging the rest or something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
But right now there's no stop.
Yeah. Oh, I feel that. I was telling you before this is like, I've been trying to figure out the work situation, and it's like thinking about it. It's like, I have a boss that literally loves the idea of live and amplified and what we do here. Like when I went to Nashville back in June for CMA Fest, I was posting all the photos, and she's like, dude, that is so freaking cool. Like, you got to meet all these people. And it's like, I mean... Yeah,
if they were smart, maybe they give you a little side, what would you call it? Like a little side feature, like on the station or something? Right. Like a little 5-minute segment?
Honestly, when I first moved there, I had pitched that idea because we had a GM that was really into the idea of doing like a music show. He wanted it to be like Austin City Limits like. Sure. And it's like, well, I've got a show. I haven't produced it in about a year, but this is what we did. Right.
Well, what was it? Was it y'all's station or was it Channel 25 that had that gal that would run around?
Yeah, it was Channel. Was it?
Yeah. Same thing. It's like you're doing the same thing. Like just take a little snippet, be like, oh, I'm here at this thing, seeing this person. It doesn't even have to be a whole big show. It's just like, maybe like from the road, with live, we got our co-producer live and amplified with whatever. Like it could even be a segment like what's going on in McLennan County or something music wise, like something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like now that I've left McLennan County again, like that was one thing when I was here, and I still see all the local like musicians that are still here. That's all they complain about, and I complain about it too. Is that there's just like there's plenty of music here, but like it's just not very. I don't know. It's not very put out there. I think locals, if they knew more about it too. Because there's so many little shows, but nobody's really advertising or nothing,
Yeah, so, like, I mean, you have to, like, really be in the scene. Like,
I look for it,
I actively search to see if there's something that I can go to. Like, if I've got, like, an hour on a Friday, it's like, okay, can I slide over here and go to a show? And sometimes it's almost impossible for me to find something. And it's like...
It's weird. They're out there playing, though. Yeah. But it's just, unlike when you're in, like... DFW or Austin or wherever, like where there's like known places. Okay, go to that venue. Someone's gonna be playing here. It's like we need to look for it, or somebody like the station needs to make that aware to people or something. I don't know. Yeah. And there's probably somebody doing it. I'm not stepping on any toes, but
it's one of those things where it's like I stopped pitching the idea a long time ago because we've had so much turnover at the station. It's like I honestly just
everything's changing. Yeah, media wise and stuff right now. Like I don't even get how any of it's working.
Like I was doing the math the other day. It's like I've been at this station now for it'll be 5 years in October, and I'm like the 10th most senior person at the station.
Wow,
like that's literally how much turnover we've had. I'm not from here. But then again, like from where I'm at to the next person, it's like 4 years. Like there's a massive jump. So it's just kind of like, okay, whatever.
But still, like you said, that's to your point. Yeah. So those are the positions they've been there forever. They're going to be there forever. Yeah. But like the other positions like should be sitting there around the 5, 6, 7 year mark. Like you is like, no, they're just turning over. Like.
Yeah. It's bad. So, but you got a lot going on, which is really cool. You just released a new single, which popped up on my Spotify. Which you released it yesterday, or was that last week?
It was last Friday. So what is today? Saturday. Yeah, last night was the week, the first week of it, and it was like
So what's the name of the song again?
Think of You.
Okay. So. What's the story behind this one?
You gotta listen to the song for that.
No? Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I don't know. I can tell you how I wrote it. I went and did this other you're talking about 2020.
Yeah.
I did this other podcast out in Nashville that was supposed to be like, it appeared to be like a big deal.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, and that was right when I don't know if you remember, like I quit. My plan in 2019 was to quit and go full time in 2020.
Because you were working on the tour. I think at that time you were kind of working on your van and.
Yeah, and I was doing 2 on, 2 off. So I'd work in like the oil field related stuff, and then I'd do music for 2 weeks. And I was like doing the math. I'm like, I'm not gonna make a killing, but I could make it. And like, let's just do this. So I was preparing, and 2020 hit, but I got mad at my job and did it anyway.
Yeah.
So, and then the money got cut in half on gigging. But anyway, all I'd say. So I was already in kind of like a weird place, and this podcast was really like, I think they were pushing a lot of paid ads and stuff. So it looked as if they were. I was like, this is worth the squeeze. So I drove all the way out to Nashville, did a bunch of open mics, did what I could, and was just really disenchanted with that at that time because of COVID. Everything was just so, it was like halfway doing open mics and stuff. And it's Nashville, so. But then I did this podcast. It was not I mean, it's terrible, dude. It was like, it was the dude was weird. The host was, I mean, everything was bad about it. And I was just like, and I'm not just saying that because we're on a podcast now, but that was the cherry on top. And I just remember I was driving home and I was like, I'm not stopping until I get home. I do that a lot. Like when I leave the state and I go do something else, and I'm like, I'm not stopping until I get home. I'm just angry. And right outside of Dallas, coming in, I got blank on the highway. You go to Texarkana and come down.
30.
Out there on the east side.
35.
Yeah, the east side of Dallas. But I was listening to this podcast that was about, oh, God, I just blanked on his name. It'll come back to me. But just this reckless life of this dude. And I was just like, Jesus, man. And I was just thinking about music and all stuff. And then they were talking about this. The dude they were talking about there is like, basically they can link all the songs back to this one muse or whatever. I was kind of just thinking about, I kind of got that, not in a good way. It's just like, that's kind of what the song's about.
Nice.
That doesn't explain it. You got to go listen to it.
Yeah, fair enough.
But the cool part about it, I wrote it, like I said, 4 or 5 years ago. Always play it, get a decent, good response on it. It's one of mine that I'll play it super slow, and then people will like erupt, I'm like, yeah, y'all like the sad ones, It's like when I'm doing just my acoustic shows. But then I decided to record it. I recorded it once in Alabama with Jimmy Nutt, and then I was just, my performance was off, so I decided to do it again, and I wanted Presley Hale to like help me out like on harmonies and stuff like that, and then I was like, well, she's a great songwriter too. I told her like 2 weeks before we went to the studio, I was like, hey, if you want to throw a verse on it, you can, and she did, and then sang on it with me through it or whatever. So but yeah, I'm very grateful for her too, because she's doing really good right now.
How'd you get introduced to her?
Oh, I've known her for
forever,
a couple of years now. Not super long, but she kind of came on to, I don't know, she came on the scene 5 or 6 years ago. And I'm sure she'd been doing it before that, but something like that. But we didn't really start, I guess, all like knowing each other probably 3 years ago, 4 years, something like that.
Gotcha. That's cool.
But yeah, she's phenomenal and just getting better and better and doing really well. So yeah, I'm very grateful that she was on that song, because now like this is like my most popular release to date. So,
nice.
So that's been pretty cool. Like for the first time ever, like actually seeing like the number like go up. And I know it's just, numbers are stupid stuff, but when you've been going at it for a long time, it's cool to like you can like see some results. Yeah. You know? So
I was I had that moment this morning before you came in. I was looking at the podcast numbers, and I mean we've always had like ups and downs. We've always done good, and then there's a period where it's like, oh, I don't upload for 2 weeks, and then the numbers kind of do their thing.
Right.
I was on the analytics page, and I was like, today was our 40th release in a row. So we had 40 podcasts in a row, and you know, it's becoming easier now, but I also had 40 interviews from CMA Fest. That's kind of carrying a lot of that weight. Yeah. But still, it's just kind of like, okay, let's try.
The podcast is probably easier than you put the scheduling and getting people in on it. Like, it's so time consuming, I'm sure.
But, you know, so we're doing that. And then I went and looked at my numbers, and like my impressions are usually sitting around like 1,000 impressions a day, like, you know, whatever. And I went on there this morning, and it jumped up to like 8,000, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell I did, but like over the last month, it's just worked its way up to 8,000, and I'm like, okay, if we can keep this here, I'll be super happy. Like 8,000 impressions a day,
and it does come and go. It's very strange. Like I don't know how to get and I've been very not interested. I just keep coming across. I don't know. It's either the algorithm I'm stuck in, or it's a new thing people are doing. So you can hopefully answer this for me, but. You run across these Instagram pages or even TikTok pages that they've posted the same video like hundreds of times, and then the only thing they change is the text over it. It's like day 12, day 13, day 40, and it's interesting to go through there and just scroll their counts, and it's like, and it's one day it's 20, then it's 20,000, then it's 10, then it's pretty interesting. It's like is this algorithm thing like actually like what's the rhyme or reason behind any of this? You know, it's pretty cool.
I have noticed that.
It's not even music related. Like they'll just post like a cat.
Yeah.
And it's like 2 seconds long or something, and they just do it over and over and over and over. It's really strange.
That is interesting. And then they just continue and it grow it. Like there's dividends that you can see. Or
one of them I was on the other day has been around for like a few months or something, and they're up to like 8,000. But then there's another one that has like 200,000 like followers that I ran across the other day, and it's and it's just like this guy walking in, his buddy's asleep, like on I can't remember what he wakes him up with. He wakes him up with a food or something. He wakes up and he's like, what are you doing? He's like, it's chocolate, you know, or something like that. It's something stupid.
Yeah.
And then they just been posting it for like 40 days, and they have like 200,000 followers or something. Crazy. So I don't know if these are AI generated or if it's people.
They probably.
Or they're building them and then they're going to sell them, you know? Yeah. Because people sell like an account once it has like a couple 100,000 or whatever. But
that's kind of what there's AI generated software or websites out there, like especially for the podcast like this, is I can upload this entire interview into AI generated, and it'll search for like key search terms and be like, okay, based on what is currently going on in the music world, these are the 20 clips we think will do well on whatever. And it's like I've kind of, because they're ultimately trying to get you to pay for a monthly subscription, but they'll give you a free they'll give you a free they'll just give you a free download of whatever clip you want, but it's all like tagged to hell and watermarked and all that stuff. And it's like, I just want the soundbite. I don't care about the video because I can always resync the video. You know, it's just kind of like I can resync the video. It's not hard. So
and it's, I don't know, man. It's like a lot of that stuff's gonna make things easier for us, but I feel like it's gonna just generify so much stuff, which is we already are doing that. It's just like, I don't know. It's like exciting, but it's also very like, even in music and stuff, like, and I don't know, like, I'd love to sit here and say like, oh, people aren't going to gravitate to AI music and all that stuff like that, but it's, people will also gravitate to like really poppy, crappy music in droves. It's like, so I think people like me and my friends and style of people like us, we're, you know, I don't think AI is going to hurt us because like it's, you know, pop isn't already hurting us now, but it's like, we're still going to be in the shadows, but it's like, but it is very like, I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about it all. I'm not scared of it, but I'm also like, Like, at what point do we just sit back and go, like, you're not going to be able to trust, like, anything. Like, you know, I'm a big, like, YouTube is my main, like, squeeze, right? And like, for years I've watched, like, little science channels and stuff like that. And plenty of those channels, like, the people who run them don't want their face on them, so they've just done their voice in the background. So that's now made it very, very easy for, like, AI channels to launch. And I got caught up. There's one I've been listening to in months, and I finally, like, looked into it. It's AI. The whole thing's AI. Like, and which I kind of like, I'm like, this voice is just not enthusiastic whatsoever, which some of them, like, that's their whole point. They want to talk like this about space and the new James Webb telescope. But no, this one just, like, it just kept having these inflections. Like, this is kind of creepy. And I looked into it. The whole thing's AI, and I'm like, and they have, you know, 1 million subscribers or whatever. And it's not that they're researching. That's the thing, is, like, you get paid on YouTube, you get paid on stuff for your efforts of researching all this stuff about space or about plants or whatever video you're going to post. Now you can hit one of these generators, say, hey, make me a 20-minute video about the James Webb telescope or whatever, or like about politics, and it'll just do it. So it's like, it's really weird, man. And then you can also use the AI to then, like you said, hey, optimize this to be the most capturing. So it's like, what are we doing? Like it's cool, but
I've been experimenting with it across the board. Just in general terms, like, I created a voice clone of myself.
That's wild.
It just mainly because I was experimenting with, like, doing these, like, news hits, like, especially when the Jason Aldean situation was happening and that whole thing. And I saw an opportunity. I was like, you know what? Let me just do YouTube 60-second vertical updates for shorts. Yeah. It'll catch, and it'll take little, not
but
little.
But you let the AI voice you? You didn't even do it?
Yeah. No. So basically I took voice clips from this not from this podcast, but from the radio show I did, the Hoedown Showdown. And I just took voice clips because I had during the radio show, I had, like, a little bit deeper inflection. Like, I purposely was, like, a little bit deeper inflection. And I was like, okay, let's do this. And I put it in there, and it was spitting out. It's not 100% like sounding natural, but it's like 90%.
Pretty good, yeah.
And it was doing it in a matter of seconds. Whereas if I were to sit there and try and do the voiceover myself, it would take me 20 minutes.
Right.
Because it's like, okay, read it. Nope, don't like that. You know, and it's just like,
do it over and over.
Yeah. And I was like,
you got to mix it, master it. Yeah. Mix it down, whatever you're doing.
Yeah. And so I was just like, you know what? Screw it. I'm paying $5 a month. Here you go. Happy birthday. And then so I would do that, and it worked, except the only issue is it's just like the hits were so few and far between because I was focused on, I was reliant on the news of the day. And it's like, once Jason Aldean kind of went away, it was like, well, not he didn't go away,
right?
But like
but the story went away.
Yeah, the story went away, and I was just like, okay, now what? And I'd occasionally get a little something, but it was just like, okay. And then I went back to doing, like, the podcast stuff, and that does okay, you know. So it's just kind of like, whatever. I'm over here.
So. Right? Yeah. It's I don't know. It's like, what do you call it? It's gonna make things easier and better, obviously. And you got a point case there right there. The way I'm kind of looking at it, I guess, more like thinking about it. It's kind of like, you know, how, like, inflation right now. When you print money, inflation. It's the same thing. I think, like, music and stuff, podcasting, all these forms of entertainment are already so devalued currently, and the more people start using these systems, which is like, I'm not crapping on you at all. That's just where it's going to go. There's no stopping it. You know, it's like, but I that's how I view it anyway. It's like, because currently it already feels that way. Like, so music, we don't get paid crap to play at a bar. We don't get paid crap for our streams or whatever. And it's because, like, that used to, like, hurt my feelings. And the more I, like, think about the world and think about everything and get older and just learn about stuff, it's like, well, yeah, it's like water at this point. Yeah. Everyone makes a podcast. Everyone makes music. And I'm not devaluing it as us, as friends and people. Like, we still value it, but, like, to sit back and go, like, oh, we're gonna make a living off this. It's like, there's literally, like,
there's like hundreds of podcasts that come out a day,
right?
And, you know, I was thinking about
hundreds of thousands songs get uploaded to like, I don't know, Spotify a day. It's crazy, man.
And I have a lot of thoughts on that stuff, because it's like, it's not hard to start a podcast. You could start a podcast on your phone. Yeah, going home, going down, back down.
People record on their iPhones with GarageBand and put that on Spotify every day. Yeah, like, you know.
Yeah, so it, like, none of this stuff is hard to do. Right. It's hard to be successful. So where the differentiator needs to be is your ability to do it consistently, to think, because I think a lot of people have this false opinion of, if I put it up on Spotify, it's going to make $1 million. And it's like, I don't think anybody's making $1 million off of Spotify, unless it's Joe Rogan. Like, he's the only one that's made millions off of Spotify.
Yeah, it's like, for those of you listening who aren't aware of it, if you're under a rock, it's like 0.00005% of a penny per play. So go look at Rihanna's streams for the past month, and or Beyonce or whoever's, Taylor Swift, and then do the math off that. Like it's for them, it's quite a bit of money, but even your more like regional, national touring acts who have that 150, 250,000 monthly listeners, just do the math on it. It's not that much money. I mean, it's better than nothing, but it's and then going and gigging. I mean, there's just not a lot of money in it, which money isn't everything, but you got to survive.
Yeah.
But that's, I think, what one of the beautiful things about it though is kind of, that's what, to like get us off that a little bit, is like why we got in here about the festival. Is that, I'm not going to sit here and say that like I haven't had dreams of like the festival being huge or my own career being huge, but I think at this point in the game, from what I see, is like, because it is just flowing in so much, there's so much information, there's so much podcast, there's so much music. It's like, I don't know, it's kind of like, well, find your own little ditch. You don't want to silo, ditch or silo. It's like, and build it's almost, maybe the way I'm viewing it is like a positive, is like, let's bring it back to the community instead of fighting each other over like who's going to be the next big thing or who's going to be, it's like, guys, I think we're all kind of in this together, like clearly. And instead of fighting over for one of the 100 to go maybe make $2, it's like, why don't we all just come together, build our platform up, and we can all just like, and you got to create a scene. Like me and Billy Hartman were talking about the other day, and I was like, yeah, dude, it's like all the things, like, so when there's so much of it, you have to give it value. And one of the things you can do to give yourself value is make it like scarce, right? So in a world that everyone's just putting stuff out all the time and they're all over the place, and they're all over Instagram, it's like, okay, we're doing that too, but we're a club, we're a scene, we're the cool kids, we got this festival, we got this thing, not in a narcissistic, weird, creepy way, but I mean as a valuable thing, is you gotta give something that value. And if somebody can't have it or they can't be a part of it, which, all clarity, anybody can be a part of our group, you gotta come hang out. We're not like closing the door, like being gatekeepers, but as far as the product we're selling is like, hey, we're this scene of really cool songwriters, really good people and podcasters, and like, that's what we do. And you can come be a part of it, and then, hopefully we get people that stream our music and come to our festival and buy tickets, and then 10 years from now, hopefully we do have like a decent way of like making it in music, opposed to like that far out dream of being like Taylor Swift.
Right,
it's just like so small of a chance.
Know? It's the festival, like, so you invited me year 2, I think, originally, and I ended up not being able to make it because Ma had just passed away at that point, and I was, in that whole scenario.
Sure.
Although looking back on it, it's probably exactly what I needed in my life, was to get away and go be a part of it. But that's in the past. And then I came out year 3. I was there for like a day and a half or something, and it been bitten by the bug ever since. So the festival has grown, like seeing the festival grow. Because I remember talking to who was I talking to, like Jason Custer or something, and he was like, "Man, just seeing last year," he was like, just seeing where it came from year 1, where it was like, okay, I got a PA system, let's go set it, and just like everybody kind of bringing their stuff together to put on a show, just to get out of the mindset of the pandemic. And just to see it last year, where you had 3 major headliners, and it's like, what's going on in this world right now? So it's definitely grown, and which I really like. So, how's the planning for this year's festival been going?
It's good, man. We kind of in the same boat. We're still, this thing is completely funded and put on by ourselves, and we do all the procuring, we do everything, and it's kind of a tough year financially for everybody. So we've had some struggles, like finding some sponsors and stuff, but we're still working on that. but as far as the artist, we're basically repeating last year as far as size. And this will be kind of the last big push on that. Like I won't quit the festival, but it's like, if we can't like really break even or profit this year, it's like, all right, we're going to because that's been the business model for the past few years. Like, all right, let's bring in some big national touring acts. Let's run some advertising. Let's really try to grow it, which is harder than people think. It's like on the outside, you see us like with these cool, great headliners, and then all the other artists, and like, and it is, the event is fun for anybody listening. It's great. It's wonderful. None of that is in the tank. It's the finances of the thing is really in the tank, where it's like, but I don't want to ever cancel it. But that was the whole idea. It's like, but you can bring in all these cool people. You can bring in these great headliners, great location, but it's another thing getting customers in, you know, which is like advertising and all that stuff, which I'm slowly basically banging my head against the wall. That's how I figure stuff out, you know,
right.
And take my licks. But yeah, last year was great. Took some licks, like I said, on the financial side. So this year is like, all right, let's do it again. And but yeah, if we can't get where I need to, we'll keep doing it. But
it'll be,
I might restructure it into like more like a songwriter retreat or something, where we still sell tickets. So maybe like Thursday, Friday is like a fishing day, and then like I don't know, a tubing day, and then at night we all write together and stuff. And like VIPs can pay to like come be a part of that are not musicians, you know. And then Saturday we do a show for like the general public or whatever, something like that. I don't know.
I think there's definitely a way to do it, because you know, you've definitely got a lot of helping hands, you know, like we're always here to support. Every time I see somebody share the past graphics and all that stuff, it's like, okay, let's get that out there. And, you know, having you on the podcast, I'm working out like a lineup over the next month or so of trying to get guests to come in here that'll be at the
that's great.
I don't know for sure because I haven't seen the lineup yet, but I'm assuming like Kevin Wayne Johnson's going to be there, and you know,
actually, I'll send it to you today, because I've got it just the other day. I finally got it like wrapped up or whatever. It's still, people are still, you know, confirming and dropping it, but you can get an idea of who's going to be there. But yeah, I mean, headliners have already been announced. So, but like we've got like the Desalones this year coming in. They're phenomenal. If you don't listen to them, listen to them. John Fulbright's going to come back.
I saw that pop up yesterday, because I remember I was sitting there with you when he wrapped up his set last year, and he was talking about, let's talk about for next year, so I can stay here for the entire weekend, or you know, like whatever it was he was talking about. I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, I mean, people are musicians are
somebody at his level, to like want to, and he's not gonna be able to do the whole weekend, but so I think Saturday he plays Saxon Pub in Austin, but but he's gonna Thursday night he's gonna come in. So that's the plan for now. So Thursday night he's just gonna come in and hang out and just be a spectator and partaker in the campfire jams, and then he plays Friday.
Nice, so, that's cool.
So yeah, hopefully that's the current plan. I think we've been going back and forth on it and stuff.
And then you got Casper coming back.
Casper's coming back. He's phenomenal.
I need to reach back out to him, because I feel like we need to sit down and have a little bit better interview, because
he had been road dogging for a couple of weeks when he came to us. He was tired, man.
He was very tired, and he was worried about some ring that he lost, and so his brain was.
I still don't know if like I never heard of anybody finding it. It's a bummer.
So
I need to hit him up. I wonder if it's one of those things where it's in his car and he like didn't know it or something. But
no, definitely. Really looking forward to this year's festival. I mean, I look forward to it every year. Like I block off like 3 weeks in October, just like, I don't know exactly when it's going to be. It's going to be in October, but I'm putting all this PTO time in, and then I'll pull it back out once I get a confirmed date. And it pisses my boss off to no end, but it's like, hey, you know, I'll just kind of bring the dates back. But
I'm potentially taking off all of October.
It's like, you can't do that. That's Heart of Texas Fair and Rodeo. We can't do that. And it's like, I mean, I kind of can, but you know,
it's my PTO. Yeah, man, it's gonna be, and we got another one that I'd never heard of him till this past year, but Scott Ballou popped up on my, my one of them. Just that's a good thing of the algorithm. Yeah. It does give you some good stuff, but he popped up and he has this song called "The Good Luck Kid," and it's just like, I wasn't a rodeo kid myself, but I was like raised in the country, and like. You just have to go listen to the song if you're like, but it's like, it's not one of these. I sent it to a friend of mine who does rodeo, and he goes, I think that's the most like honest, genuine song that's like not kitschy and corny about like that. But basically, like the sentiment of the song is like his dad telling him like, that's why I never hugged you or shook your hand, because it might be 30 years from now before you learn that's how I was trying to raise a man. It's like. It's not kitschy at all. Please go listen to Scott Ballou and The Good Luck Kid. It's like so good.
Nice.
But But yeah, once I like fell in love with, then I listened to his whole album. I was like, this dude's awesome. And I'm like, wait, he's clearly from Texas. I started hitting little hints in his songs. I look him up. Yeah, I think he lives in like Austin or whatever. So I emailed his site and I was like, hey, and he's like, yeah, we could do it. I'm like, this is awesome. So that's a good one. But
that is what I like about the festival is last year you really made an initiative to try and get people from New Braunfels on the bill.
Oh, and we got more this year. Yeah.
And then it's very Texas centric. Yes, you bring in people from all
Oklahoma,
over
Louisiana, Alabama.
Yep. Speaking of Alabama, I got to reach out to Derek because I was supposed to go.
Yeah, I hadn't heard from him in a minute. I need to call him too.
Well, I know. So I was supposed to go out there in May because the live podcast that I did at last year's festival. I was like, let's turn this into a thing. Like, I want to make this a thing. And I messaged Derek, or Derek had messaged me about it because I'd put out a Facebook post. He's like, hey man, I do a songwriters thing at the end of every month out here in Alabama. And it's like, okay.
Shoals,
it's not, I don't think it's technically.
He's in Florence.
Yeah, Florence. And
we're talking about Derek Kaufman, by the way.
Yeah, Derek Kaufman. Sorry, I tend to just kind of dive into the conversation.
No, yeah.
But Derek Kaufman invited me out. He was like, hey, you could take what I have here at the end of every month, this songwriter thing that I do, and do your podcast thing, because I think that's really cool.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
And, we promote the festival, all that stuff. And I'm like, cool, let's do it. Yeah. And then he reached out to me. He was like, hey, got some personal stuff going. I'm not going to air out his laundry. But
right, yeah.
He's got some personal stuff, and he was going back and forth to Michigan. I'm like, damn, Alabama to Michigan, that's a haul. Like,
well, he's always even. Yeah, that's about the last time I talked to him too. They were going through some stuff. But even aside from that, like his job that he does a lot of driving. Yeah. He's crazy, man.
Yeah.
That dude's all over the place. Yeah. I love that wild guy.
But I just finally heard back from him yesterday, and I think I'm gonna see if he wants to do something in September. Okay. But if not, it is what it is. But we went out and did the live podcast in Nashville. That was right before CMA Fest, which was crazy. We went to a bar, and Anna Lamare actually hooked me up with the bar. She was like, hey, I got this owner, he says he's down to do it, here's his number, let me know.
I love that. I love hearing it's like all these little connections and stuff.
She was like, one of my friends works for him, or used to, I don't remember what the connection was, but he said he's down, he'd love to have you.
She's connected with everybody.
Yeah.
She used to be in the bar industry and stuff.
Yeah. Anyway. And so I reached out to him, we got it set up, and I get there. And I knew it was a pinball bar, or like a pinball bar, and I was like, okay, that'd be kind of cool. It'd be different, but it is what it is. And I knew I wasn't gonna have a whole lot of space, but I get there, and I walk in. It's a punk bar, but
with pinball machines.
But with pinball machines, it was like a retro punk.
Oh, that's so
punk
cool,
rock bar
man.
With pinball machines, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. And then I'm listening to what they're playing over the radio, and it's 90s hip hop, and I'm like. What kind of random ass stuff is going on?
Well, and then, I feel like that's just what Nashville, and that's there's my riff right there with Nashville. It's like that's what it's like. This place was so cool, but they probably they got to play what the tourists want to hear and stuff and whatever. Like,
so we did it. It was cool. And so now this year we're trying to get a couple more on the books, and
that'd be cool, man.
We'll do that whole thing. But
the Live and Aim-Flat Roadshow.
Yeah, that's the hope.
Yeah.
But no, the festival will be good this year. I'm excited. Did you say you announced everybody fully, or are you kind of like...
No, right now it's just, we've just sent it out like just the other day to everybody else. So, but the deadline is like a week from now.
Okay.
And then we're going to try to post it. So we're going to do the float trip August 10th.
Yep.
Which, by the way, anybody wants to come to Mountain Breeze Campground, it's open. Welcome to anybody. You don't got to buy a ticket. You just come there and you just deal with Mountain Breeze. Rent your tube. They're going to shuttle us. And then we have a campsite everybody can stay at if you want to pick around and stuff.
Yeah.
But, we've been trying to make that like an annual thing now too for the past couple of years.
Because was last year the first year you did that?
Yeah, okay. Because it's like our festival is based around the river, but it's October. It's not really floating time. Yeah. It's just like, well, let's do a float in the middle of the summer to keep people engaged, and also it's just fun. But it's just there's nothing on the agenda. It's just a good time. Yeah. But after that, we're gonna. So right now, everything's been pushing towards like making that aware and making people aware of that. And then we'll probably release the full lineup. And
nice. That's cool. It's at least this year you don't have to worry about the drought, because I remember watching. There's a couple of YouTubers that I watch that live around San Antonio, and they're on the Guadalupe all the time. And they're like, "Man, this river." All of last summer it was like, "This river is so dry. It's all like basically a bed and stuff. Yeah. And at least this year it shouldn't be like that. So
right. Well, that's the one cool thing about being at Mountain Breeze, though. Even any time of the year. Now floating will always be dictated by obviously the flow and stuff like that. But at Mountain Breeze, they're so close to the dam. Yeah. They never generally never see bottom. Yeah. You're not, maybe the float's going to not be great, but right there at their camp, the water is always standing in good, good flowing water or whatever. Yeah. But it's real cold because it's coming around the bottom of the dam right there.
That's cool.
Because I don't know if you know it, Canyon Lake, basically we're if that dam, there's a giant dam. I don't know, 15 miles from us, we're all dead. If it were to go, we're right there at the blast zone, man. Yeah, it happened.
Well, that's scary because that's been happening up in, was it Michigan?
Happens all the time, man. I mean, it's pretty crazy. Any dam, this is a little side tangent. Yeah, anytime I drive by a dam, I'm just man, that could, because I was raised up near Belton, just down the road. Have you ever researched that from back in the day?
No, I haven't.
You should, man. Okay. Belton blew out, the dam blew out on the side. It didn't, the dam itself didn't blow out. I think it just filled up so much. Then it hit the side where it's just dirt and stuff and started eroding. So it's I guess the concrete dam, they never expected to go up here. And once it started trickling over, then that eroded down. And there's old photos of it, black and white photos. It was just crazy. Yeah. And if it would have kept washing it out, it could have taking the whole dam out. It could have got really bad.
Yeah, it was the similar situation when I was driving up to Chicago last weekend. I had heard, I had seen on YouTube they were doing this big news flash because there's a small town in southern Illinois called Nashville, Nashville, Illinois, and they have it's not a dam, but it's a river levee, like a levee, and the levee gave way. And so, this lake that all the farmers use for irrigation and all that stuff, the levee gave way, and it damn near flooded the entire town. Yeah. And it's I got to drive right past that place. I hope it doesn't flood 57, but,
this stuff's scary. I think about it. Every time I see a dam, that's all I think about. I'm and usually, the stuff downstream of the dam is, really, prime real estate, really cool. It's on a river, the Guadalupe and stuff, which also I hope I'm not deterring you to come to our festival. The dam's fine. It's not going anywhere.
No,
but
you're fine.
If they were to go, it'd be so crazy.
No, I hope everybody, just to kind of reiterate this point, I hope anybody that's listening gets a chance to come out. It's a really good time of year to be down in that part. Yes, it'll be warm for the most part, but you're under trees and it's never really that hot.
Right, yeah. I think it's perfect for a tent camper too. It's and that's kind of why I do it that time of year because now I'm old enough. I try to get myself some AC, but all through my 20s going to festivals, it's some of the best festivals are in July and August. Yeah. And it doesn't matter. The sun goes down and you're just laying in your tent in your boxers, and you're drunk or stoned and you're just sweating, dude. It's so bad. But our festival, you will not. It's warm in the day, so you can you can wear your jorts, dudes can wear your jorts, ladies can wear their Daisy Dukes, and then at night you can actually put a blanket on because it gets just cool enough to chill out, Most people that do the tent camping, it's you see them the next morning. You can tell who's tent camping and who's who's been in the AC because the people sleeping in the AC, they come out we need to warm up. For the people who sleep, which the temperature's not really that cold, but when you've been sleeping in it all night, they kind of got a little jacket on or something because that morning time really gets a crisp off the water. So I think it's a magic time of year. It's good.
I told we did a wrap up podcast last year with off mic off the record. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I told him I was this entire experience last year, I had fun the first year I was there, but I wasn't there for the entire time because I had some other stuff kind of going on at that point, and it's okay, I didn't get the full effect. And then I woke up Sunday morning last year and I was just I get this entire I get everything right now. I get why people come here. Yes, I'm tired. Yes, I probably stink yes, I'm showering, but it's not the best shower in the world, it's basically just clearing off the surface dirt and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But I get why people are here. I get it now. And I'm looking forward to this year, to say the least.
Well, that's what I want it to be. I think from my experience with festivals has always been that is cause I used to go real hard, to say the least, but there's something about going to a festival 4, 5, 6, the longest one I ever went to, it actually does 7 days. Mm-hmm. I averaged usually going the 5 or 6 day ticket, but every year, and I used to go really hard, used to drink really hard, do all this fun extracurriculars. And we were in our early 20s, so like we're boys, so we go out there and like in a tent, and you could buy a shower pass, but we wouldn't. And I remember like, yeah, that like Sunday you going home and you're just like, your mind is erased almost, and you go home, you take that first shower, and like literally the water coming over you's brown, and you're just like, it's like a rebirth. Like so now I don't go that rough when I go to festivals, but like it's kind of like a rebirth, and that's like what they say, like, you know, not that I'm a fan of most things that are Burning Man, but you know, the ethos of Burning Man is supposed to be like, you know, this you're kind of like, they do their big burn and stuff, people can bring photos or old stuff, so if you had a breakup or whatever, or like, you know, your divorce papers or your mortgage paper, and you burn it kind of thing. It's like a reset. We're not all as hippy dippy and, you know, weird stuff as they are, but any festival is kind of that, I think, or anything you do that like takes you to the extreme. And that one, our extreme is like, you know, you're going from like noon to 5 a.m. like every night if you're hanging and hitting all the campfires and stuff. And then, but also just being surrounded. I think the thing that we have that other festivals don't is our size. We're still small, and I know that word is overused, but we really are intimate. Like and like everybody knows everybody, and if you don't know everybody, give it a day and you're gonna know everybody. There's no cliques. There's no like weird. So far, I don't think I've picked up on that. Like I don't think there's any cliquey stuff going on. It's just everybody's mixing with everybody, and we've got old to young. You can bring the kids too. Like that's something that I'm really trying to like keep there, because there's a lot of great festivals that they get too wild. You're not gonna bring your kid to be around that. Ours is kind of like PG-13, right? It's like in the daytime, or parent advisory warning. That's what ours is. It's like in the daytime, sure. After midnight, your kids should probably be in bed anyway. If they're not, they might hear a few cuss words and stuff, and see some guy run off in the river or something. I don't know. Maybe some couple will go skinny dipping or something. But it's like,
I feel like that almost happened last year. But
it's probably happened. I'm not aware of it, you know. But but it's like I really do want it to be a place where like everybody can show up. And literally, we have like 20-year-olds and we have 80-year-olds that come. You know, it's like, I really want to keep it that way, and it just feels good. And when you're there, you just when you leave, you feel recharged, ready to hit the rest of the year.
The only thing that sucked was I had an 8-hour drive to New Mexico after that.
That's right.
I was like, everybody's like, oh, you got to hang around. Like Sunday, we're not doing anything, but just kind of hang around because it'll be chill, whatever. And I'm like, I'd love to. I got an 8-hour drive to New Mexico, and it's going to be like stupid late when I get there. And so
I bet you felt heart happy on the drive.
And it was cool because I got to drive through parts of Texas that I ain't never been to, and it's like,
because you went through that south kind of southwest side. It's so pretty out there. Northwest Texas,
West Texas in general is,
but
just,
Southwest Texas is beautiful. Really beautiful.
I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, because didn't you work out in the oil fields out in West Texas?
Everything from like northwest of basically Stephenville can suck a lemon, dude. But anything southwest, that's pretty cool. You get out like, or even like, I would say if you're out in like Midland area, like that sucks, but like Rankin and down is really cool. And then obviously you get down to Big Bend, and it's beautiful. I mean, you still fry in the summer, but it's just beautiful down that way and stuff.
Anything from like Midland, Odessa up, and then like Abilene west, I'm kind of like over.
Abilene, Amarillo, they can suck a lemon too.
I'm just like, sorry guys, I know a lot of people that live out there, but
I've tried. I got friends out there. They know my sentiment.
Right? It's like, so this year, I don't know, you want to talk about, like, I'd thrown out the idea of doing a doc this year, because I think
I want all the things. I just don't have the manpower and stuff to do it. But anybody that wants to come out with an idea like that, please do it.
I'm gonna
do it. Like, I can't. I'm giving you permission to do whatever you want to do.
We'll talk about logistics later or after this. But I'm going to do it because we just had the Waco Indie Film Festival, and the station I work for is a big sponsor of that. And every year they're like, you guys got anything you got? Because we're all like, we've all used to do films, or we all do films, or you know, that sort of thing. They're like, you guys got anything you want to put in? And I'm like, I haven't done a film since like 2019. You don't want any of that stuff. Right. They're like, well, just try and get a film. And so like on my drive back from Chicago, I was like, all right, what am I going to do? Because I've got projects that are just kind of sitting there, but none of them are that good. And then I had one idea. I was like, okay, I could do that. And then you and I started talking about doing this podcast. And I was like, that's the podcast, or that's the documentary right there. That's what I need to do.
I think that'd be cool. I mean, because especially now that we're like, you know, we're not so much back on our heels in this process. Yeah. I mean, we still got a lot of growing to do, but I think like if we got any bigger, then it's like, you know, a documentary wouldn't look as cool or something. Yeah. But I think we're actually like, not to get too like into ourselves, but like I think it'd be a really cool time for it because we are still growing, but we're not just running around like crazy people anymore. It's like I think it'd be a good time, and we have so many good people involved. Mm-hmm. And then two, that Scott Blue I was telling you about, he's also like an award-winning documentary filmmaker.
Oh, so really?
He just did a documentary over Jimmy Buffett, and he has another one out, but that's his main shtick.
Yeah.
He's like does all the indie film festivals, so we might have to we'll talk to him, we'll get everybody involved. Like,
nice, that's cool. It's but yeah, no, like what popped in my head about it was it's the 5-year anniversary this year, which is amazing. And we're still fresh enough from the C word.
Yeah, yeah. The YouTube demonetization word.
Yes, that thing. But that's what sparked this entire thing. Like I'm sure we've talked about it several different times, but if it wasn't for the C word,
I wouldn't have done it. Yeah, I was definitely like very focused on myself and what I was doing in music and stuff. And then really, you know, people that have come in trying to help us out and stuff with like wanting to like come in as partners. Like one of the things, either people love the name or they're like, well, it's kind of long. All like the business people or whatever. Like, and I'm like, yeah, but I don't think I can change this point because it's it was a joke for people who don't know. Like this festival was literally a joke. Because we were sitting in some of my good friends' backyard because, you know, in our, what was it? Less than 20. I'm sure.
Whatever it was.
Yeah. We were partying in somebody's backyard and like everyone's bummed out because this particular group of friends was not music players, but they're festival friends of mine. We all met at a festival. We all go to festivals. We're just those type of people. And then we're all sitting in the backyard and like, oh, they're all bummed out because they all had their vacation time off for this big one that we do. And it got pushed and moved and then canceled. And they're like, what are we going to do? You know? And which also is the only reason those dates happen, by the way, which October is wonderful for Texas in general. But that other festival had got pushed from the spring to October and then canceled. So all of them moved their vacation from the spring to October. And they're like, well, what are we going to do for that week we all have off?
Right.
And they're like, we should throw our own festival. And they're like, Dustin can probably do it. I'm like, I really could. Like I could get some people together, which is what we did. The first year was just like, it was like Ghost Dance Band, Jason Custer. It was like all my Waco crew when I was still living here. John May, a lot of other folks, a lot of folks. And then I brought in like the Bryan College stage people like Mary Charlotte, Young, Colton French, Billy Hartman was on the first year too. Like, but you know, we just, if you look at photos from it, it's literally just like a little PA that we all hobbled together. Yeah. It went out like I remember the plugs went out one night and like the whole PA just went down. You know, it's just
that's
like,
funny.
And it was just it was really a joke. And then the next year came around, everybody's like, like 2 or 3 months before, like, hey man, like, you gonna do that again? That was super fun. I'm like, nah, because I had some like family stuff go down myself. Like, it's a pretty big loss in our family, and I was kind of like, and it's COVID. I was just like, I ain't doing nothing, man. And it was like, okay, well, let's do it. And we had always talked about the first year we just did it up on the concrete on the stage that's already on the property. It's like
the one that's right up against the
near the Cowboy Mike's, the food stand. We're like, we need to do it like down there. So we got some stage decks and no, I lied. There's a back balcony.
Yep.
On that building, and we took the front rail off of it. So the stage, quote unquote, was this balcony. Like everyone's like looking up at the artist playing. And we thought it'd be cool to hang those like rope lights from there, which did look cool. But when you're looking up at the artists, you could see them. But when we were playing, it's like the way those LEDs were like, it's like those rope lights, green and blue. And it was like blinding. It just looked like you couldn't see nothing down there.
It was
just
like the endless
hazy
abyss.
Yeah, it's kind of what it looked like. Yeah. And then the next year I was like, okay, we got to get it down. So we hauled in stage decks. Yeah. And Derek Kaufman about lost a finger. So I was like, well, okay. We're not doing this ever again. And then I found a company last year that we did bigger stages, more stages, and we hauled the decks. They hauled all the decks in and like hauled them back out. And I'll say that was the best money I've ever spent so far on the festival. Like, love all my headliners, love all my staff, love all my artists, but watching those guys carry those decks in and out, I was like, Thank God.
You guys deal with that.
So much work.
That's so funny.
Because setting up the stage that year wasn't bad, but the last day, everybody said they're going to help, and then they kind of hung over and they disappeared, and you're like, okay, I got 3 people to help me with like 40 decks that I got to haul up these stairs and stuff. And then not only that, I put them on a trailer I borrowed from my dad and then hauled them back to Waco to a company here that I rented them from. And I was just like, and then drove to Dallas after that. It was just like a terrible day.
That's funny. And that was year 3? That was
3, yeah.
That was my first year?
I guess so.
Yeah, that's funny.
And then, so now this year, same thing. Basically, last year's setup is exactly what we got this year. The only thing I want to add that we still don't have the budget for is a proper truss. You know, right now we just have like the light bar kind of setups on the side, which do fine. Yeah. But I want a proper truss so we can like light the crowd up at certain points and stuff. And
that'd be cool.
Because we can't really get a trailer stage down there, unfortunately.
No. Are you going to be doing the river acoustic sets again?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The Fatties on the Fly.
Yeah.
River stage. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
And this year I've changed it up too. We're gonna be ending. The headliners are done by like 10:30, 11, and then our river stage starts at 11.
Yeah,
and I'm featuring 3 artists this year instead of the 2.
Okay,
because it's like, I don't know, like it's a songwriter festival, and I mean I love all my band friends too, but like I wanted to bring more focus because like last year I felt like all my songwriters were just like in the morning, which they still are this year too, but like I wanted to give more spots to people like up there, you know, so we can like. Because they're important to me as well. So we'll figure out the perfect balance one of these days. But also the river stage ends at midnight this year. I made it really, really hard stop on like all the scheduling and stuff.
Because last year you were going to like 1, 2 o'clock down there, right?
The year before we went to like 2.
Yeah.
And last year we still ended up at 1. This year the goal is like midnight.
Yeah.
And not because, but that's just so we can go to the campfire and jam. That's open jam for everybody.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, I probably still brought on too many people this year. I was told myself I wasn't going to, but we've got like 50 artists again. So.
You know what? That's cool. I love it.
Yeah,
and then
it's just music all day.
You've got international appeal because did Nia confirm? Is she?
Oh yeah, she's coming too. Yeah, she's gonna come too. Yeah, she plays on Friday or Saturday.
Okay.
Acoustically.
Nice.
Nia Nichols.
Yeah.
That'll be cool. So yeah, I didn't even think about that. I guess we're not only. I guess now we're transcontinental.
Right.
Was that what you'd call that?
Yeah. Because
so we're international, transcontinental.
That's
world renowned agenda.
Right. You know what though? She came out last year, and it was just like she was gonna move to Nashville, but that didn't end up quite working out like she wanted to.
But, Nashville's choking.
Well, no, it was more like passport.
Right.
That whole situation. And she said that her parents were going to come down to do like a week trip or whatever. It's like, come to this festival. I can get you in. Like, I know that, but your parents will figure that situation out later. And, y'all just kind of took her in, and I was like,
and that wasn't like some special favor. And it's just like, that's what we do. That's what that sentiment I meant earlier is like, we all naturally have been already supporting each other, but I really think like what I'm now trying, like my whole goal with the festival, of course it'd be great. Obviously it needs to break even.
Yeah.
Obviously if we all made a lot of money, that'd be cool too. But at the very least, like what I really want is to break even and just make a community, and it's for all the people. Yeah. I mean, our thing currently is kind of like, I guess we're a little punk rock ourselves.
Right.
We're a little anti-establishment, anti-label, anti-Nashville, whatever it is, even anti-parts of Austin. We're not anti is a strong word.
Right.
But like what I mean to say is like if you're in the industry, there's people out there that are just bidding for themselves every step of the way, whether they're an artist or whether they're an industry folk, and for whatever reasons they've got.
Yeah.
And our group is none of that. I mean, I'm sure people come and go, and maybe they'll grow to be that after us. I don't know how that works, but from what I've seen in like the industry is just, and I'm really not sitting here like trying to sit here like I have this big mission and stuff, but it's probably more like just ingrained to me with life in general is like I've always kind of gone against what other people are doing, and then when I got into music, it's just like, you try to be in those clubs because you think that's where it's at, and then you realize like all the BS that surrounds it, and how much of it is just kind of a fraud even. Yep, and it's like, okay, that's our only, like, are you a good person? Are you a real person? And do you sing well and write well? Cool. Do you have to be the like star football player or the like, I don't know, supermodel? No, it's like, we care about music, care about good people. Yeah. And
that's
and as we do want to break even, but also like we're not looking at people like, oh, how can we make millions off this person or not like that. We're just us, by the way. There's no like corporate suit sitting behind us running the show. It's literally me.
Little puppet master guy.
And I don't know I barely graduated high school, man. Right. I don't have a degree in like business finance or so. It's like we're just people. We're just real people.
Yeah.
Trying to make it and trying to do something cool.
And that's why I've been so hesitant, because like my family has been like, hey, you got to move closer back towards us. And I see everything that you're doing with the festival, and I see the community here, albeit I don't get out nearly enough. But that's because I'm trying to do, like the way you're trying to do your music, I'm trying to do it with my thing with Live and Amplified. So it's like,
well, that's what I mean. We all got to have our things.
Yeah. Like, and so it's like, but when I do get to be a part of the music community and get to come down and see, like we went out to Heiko, and I never met the guy at Heiko, but he saw that I was having an issue getting up the.
Oh, Wes is great.
Yeah. And he was like, hey man, jump back in your car. You pull over here and it's a lot easier to get in and out. Yeah. And I'm like, sweet. I never met the guy. And
Wes Lunsford. He's a good people. Man.
Yeah, and so like just the community that you've built, and from the first day that I met you back in 2020 to the first day festival that I went to in 2022, and you know the connections I've made, it's like I don't necessarily want to leave. But then again, it's cool. One of those deals where we're all creatives and we've all got our own thing going on. And when we get together, we're together. It's like a family reunion. Like we don't have to hang out every weekend to be like or family friend, you know, like however you want to word it. So,
well, I mean, yeah, it's funny because that's how I've viewed the festival like that, and told people, and I've even told my artist, and I had to emphasize it this year to everybody. Not only because I want your families there, because I want to meet your mom, dad, cousin, brother, whatever. And like this is not a festival for like, I mean, I hope it's for the masses one day, but like currently I told them, I was like, for one, yes, we all want to meet them and like all interact and stuff and make this like more like a family reunion, but also like that's, you know, don't be ashamed to like get a ticket sale through a friend or a family member or whatever. It's like, it's not so I can make money. It's just so like we can all like break even and maybe you can make some gas money to go home or whatever. Yeah. But also for like, that's part of the whole community. Like I don't want people, I think still there's a few folks maybe thinking of this as more like a, you know, a for-profit festival and like it's for like the college kids and all that stuff, which like I said, it's for everybody. But at the end of the day, it is like my big excuse to get all my friends together in one place and like actually get to hang out. And so if anything, if it's never successful financially, it's like it's my party I'm throwing to like see all my friends. You know? Right. Like, and we happen to play music. I don't know.
It's like almost a gathering of the Avengers. Because it's like, yes, you do definitely have those musicians that they come for their set and then they leave.
Yeah, and they've got other gigs and stuff, and I can't hold them. Yeah, you know, one of these days I want to be able to pay them enough that like, hey, no other gigs this weekend. You stay the whole weekend. Yeah, you know? That give them more than they can get paid anywhere else. You know, kind of thing.
Because you know, and I think a lot of musicians miss the full impact of the festival. Because like last year, I know a lot of the acoustic guys that were performing, it was like, okay, they came at 10, 11, 12, you know, whenever the set was, and then they left right afterwards. Bounce out, sure. And it's like, I get it. Like you've got other things to do. This is a gig. I get it. But you're missing the full impact of this festival. Like,
and that's what usually the ones that do that, it's their first year of play. Yeah. Almost everybody who's played multiple years, or that first year they'll do that, and then they go, oh man, I was Cameron Smith last year. He had a few gigs lined up because he's a busy guy. He's really good at what he does, and he came and played his set. And he was like, "Man, I wish tomorrow's gig was not like an important one," or said something like that. He's like, I really want to stay. I'm like, well, now you know for next year, man. Like, and look, we're all gigging musicians, and I'm not in a position to like pay people gazillions or anything at all most of the time. And it's like, so like. Get your gigs, do what you got to do. Like I'm not faulting anyone on that. And if anything, like I said, my goal with this financially, as far as that goes, like would love to get to the point where I got enough sponsorship money and ticket sales that, like, as I just said, I'm paying you so much, you don't need another gig. You don't want those other gigs. You're gonna stay here.
Right.
And like I want that reputation. Like right now, I feel like the dirty skeezer like promoter guy who's like, oh yeah, we're paying you in like
experience points.
What do they call it? I just blanked. Exposure. We're paying you in exposure, man. It's like no, it's just literally like I don't have anything else to give, but But yeah, the moment we have any money to give, I want to be known like, oh, you're going to go, you're going to have a good time, you're going to camp out, you're going to hang out all weekend, and you're going to make more money than you made at any other gig.
Yeah.
And if that means like the festival breaks even and every artist gets paid killer money and I walk away with nothing, that is totally fine. Like I want to make that abundantly clear. Like I never get, I say it on email and text all the time, but I never get to say it like audibly, truly. That's where my heart and my intentions are.
Yeah.
Would it be cool if it makes $1 gazillion and all that happens and I put money in the bank? Sure. But like I got a job, I got other incomes. Mm-hmm. I just can't like lose my whole soul every year. You know?
Right. Because, I feel like you kind of go through the same thing I do. Because I do shortly after In a Jam, I do a fundraiser for pancreatic cancer research. And I feel like you kind of go through the same levels of emotion that I do, where it's like, I'm not going to do it this year. I'm not going to do it this year. I'm not going to do it this year.
I have to do it.
Wait a minute. Maybe I should do it.
Yeah.
And then it goes from, in like the matter of 24 hours, it's like, maybe I should do it, to you're booking booking musicians already. Right. And I'm like, fuck, I'm back in it.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. And so, yeah, I feel like you're kind of in that same wavelength where it's like every year it's like, okay, we're going. Let's go.
This year especially, like I went through doing the festival, went bigger than I ever could have gone, had a lot of personal issue stuff, like Simon, like it was not a good year.
Yeah.
And then to come out of the other side of the festival, my heart was full. I was happy, but then like a week later, everything set in. I was like, okay, doing the math on like the money that I'm gonna have to start paying back on these loans and stuff, and I'm like. And like I said, personal life had fallen apart at the time. And I was for sure like, I'm done, dude. I'm so done. I'm not doing this. Like, I even made this for anybody who heard it. I'm still embarrassed, but I made this like, I was like, I'm going to do like a Lex Friedman styled little monologue about, because I wrote this, you write sometimes just to like feel like therapy or whatever. So I wrote this thing out. I was like, I'm going to record it. I'm going to post it. Because I was like so mental at that moment. I was like, this sounds cool. And I was like 2 days later, I was like, what are you doing? I took it back down. It wasn't cringy. I mean, it was kind of cringy, but yeah, I was like, I'm done. And then come like after December, I was like, okay. Because back to Anna Lamare, she's the reason the Des Loans happened. She knows them from back when she was in like New Orleans stuff. So she hit them up directly, and they've been super cool. Like they're so cool. They're working with us, like because they're huge, man. And they've been just like, they don't have like some crazy agent that I'm dealing with, and like I didn't sign a bunch of forms and like contracts. They're just like, yeah, okay, we'll be there. We'll do this. Here's our price. I'm like, they've been so cool. Been so cool. So
that's cool.
In my head, I was like, that okay. I'm gonna book them. I'm gonna book 10 other artists. And we're gonna do one day.
Right.
And now here we are with like 56 artists. 6 headliners, and I'm gonna be in the exact same position financially, debt again.
I think you'll be all right this year. I 100% believe you'll be okay, because it's like
something will happen.
And that was kind of the other thought process behind doing the documentary, like bringing the documentary back up, because if I say it, it happens.
Yeah. He's gonna do a documentary,
right? But if we can get exposed, because like the whole thing is to get it out on the film festival circuit, and film and music, they kind of go hand in hand. Mm-hmm. At festivals, there's always musicians. So if we could use that as a promotional tool, be like, oh, hey, there's sponsors. Like there's money in these film festivals. If we can get some of them to come to the music festival, be like, hey, you want to sponsor the stage for like 10 grand, 20 grand, something like, and just get it covered. But.
And it's happening, like, and that's what, and I really am positive. I mean, I've anybody who knows me close and personally knows that I definitely go to have depression, do all that stuff. And I definitely have days where I'm like, this is screwed. But ultimately it's like, I go back to, my oldest sister, Missy, years ago, she, cause she's had a colorful life, to say the least, and she had plenty of reasons to give up at different points in time. And she always told me, she said, things just have a way of working out. Right. And like she told me that was like in high school. And I've always said that, but it wasn't until like the past few years of my life where I'm like, yeah, it does. It's like, and then also in recent years, something that, you know, a few years ago, it drove me nuts when everybody started talking about simulation theory and all this stuff. And I'm like, and look, and so no, listen, I know this is not going where you think it is. And it drove me so nuts. I like dove down the rabbit hole, like all these super smart people. And I'm like, you idiots. And I'm like, whatever. Like you said, what the heck? So no, they didn't convince me that simulation theory is real, but maybe they did in this way, is that like life is kind of like, at least in this country, something that I know we have a lot of flaws in this country, but one good thing about this country in particular is like you can kind of treat it like a video game in the sense that you can respawn and you can't die and respawn, but like, you know, in this wonderful, chaotic, crazy place, we do have bankruptcy, which is, it's not something you should aim for, kids, but like, it's like, well, I'm 32. Yeah. It's like, I don't have kids. You know, I do got my little fixer-upper house now and stuff, but it's like, I'm not going to die. Like, the worst thing that happens to me is like, which I'm not super upside down, but I'm not like $100 million upside down or like that, but like everything that I have invested in these things can be paid back, can be taken care of. It takes a lot of hard work, and I do have to go do physical manual labor for, you know, I'm not college educated or nothing like that, but I do pretty well in like the mechanical industry and stuff. But it's like, I know 5 years ago, before I really started investing back into music again, I was like, you know, I had security, I had money sitting in the bank, I had a decent job, you know, kind of. Yeah. And I was miserable, dude. Like I really like, I was more like depressed during those times than I am now. And it's like, I don't know. You just see so many people that make it into their old age who everything worked out. The house is paid off, you know, this and that. The kids went to college and stuff, and they're miserable. And they're like, oh, I wish I'd done this or that and the other. And so at like 27 is when I decided to go back into music. So that's been the past like 5, 6, 7 years, whatever it is. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's like everything could just fall apart tomorrow, you know, like, and forget my own financial stuff. Like, have you looked at the country right now? Like, we could be in a depression this time next year. So it's like, I don't know. Like, so taking what like I said, the simulation theory thing is now, even if we did live in a simulation, it's still our reality. That doesn't, that's just a brain thing that just hurts your brain to think about it too hard. But taking that example of like, I mean, I like camping. I mean, I could live on the street for a few years if I got. I mean, that's the worst thing. The worst thing that happened to you. Literal worst thing that could happen to you. And then it's it's kind of like restarting. It's like, okay, well now my credit's ruined, but like, okay, now I would almost be low key kind of happy. I'd be like, all right, let me go to get some manual labor job and just get some little simple apartment and start over. You know,
because that's the thing is, it's like, they're in this country, in this world, in these current times, if you really want to, you can get yourself out of any situation. Even if you're broke, homeless, living on the streets, you can get yourself out of it. Like, it's not as, like, I was watching a YouTube video where a guy sold everything he had, or he didn't sell it, he basically stripped himself of everything he had and went across the country, or took a road trip across the country from LA to North Carolina. Yeah. And on no money, and he figured out figured out a way to do it. Yeah, and it's like, it's not that crazy, but
yeah, I think it all comes back to, and look, I'm saying this all right now because I feel pretty good today, but like when I'm by myself, like laying in bed at noon because I'm sleeping in, death scrolling, and I don't think this way, but really, I mean, you just like you can always come back up, and it's going to be a lot of work. Doesn't mean it like, but also I think what we do is, plenty of like psychologists and stuff talk about it, and it's something that's hard to internalize yourself till you're like, today I'm feeling good, I can internalize thinking, but it's like all that worry is just that, literally all the debt, all the relationship where you're at, your family, your whatever it is like, you really do choose to worry about it. Yeah. And you have people who can be like millionaires with technically no worries. They will find worries. You can have somebody who lives in the poorest situation ever who doesn't think about their worries or has a bunch of worries. But like what it really comes down to, and I'm really not trying to sound like some woo-woo, like, oh, you just got to put your mindset. I'm not saying that. It's just like, but truthfully, I don't know, like maybe it is a little mental. Let's just be like, whatever, I don't care. Because you, at the end of the day, no one's going to come to your house, and when it comes to finances, no one's going to come to your house and like take you out in the street and like put you down because you didn't pay this bank back or whatever. It's like, and that's not my intention, not to pay back like that, but it's like you can sit there and worry about, I don't know, it really is a mindset to sit there, like you could have everything going for you great, and then like, and then you can start drinking your tap water and going, you can worry about that. What's in this? I need to go check. You can worry about everything. You can worry, what's the chemicals in this couch? This what's the EMP from these microphones doing to us? You can take worry in a bunch of different directions. My personal worry has been, or like in relation to the festival and like stuff like that, is like the overextending of like money. Yeah. But it's like, at the end of the day, I could sit back and be very financially comfortable with my job. I could go do that every day. Could go home, could sit on the couch, watch a giant TV, whatever. Or I could do what we did, and now I'm getting goosebumps because that's the whole point. Like it's stressful, and and I know not everybody through the process. Some people probably don't like me or have a different opinion of me because of the financial situation. They're not getting taken care of, whatever it is, or even success. And then people start disliking you. But overall, dude, like 7 years ago, I had like my 5 friends, and I still have those 5 friends. They're really wonderful people. I really love them. And like now, I've got like people across the whole state, country. And some people overseas now too, you know, and it's like, and it's because you're just doing cool shit and do it every day and just keep doing it. And then also ignoring the whole like fame thing, ignoring the numbers, which I'm guilty of it for sure. It's hard to like look at your Instagram following or how many people are viewing your story or how many people liked your stuff and go, oh, I'm useless. I'm worthless. Like, no, turn all that off. And like, I got really cool friends and do stuff. I've got all these people from festival, and like, I'm just trying to enrich my life like that, and then in the process, enrich all of our lives, and hopefully we're all better for it, bigger for it, more wonderful for it, and all that stuff. And as my sister said, like everything has a way of working itself out. Yeah,
100% agreed. It's one of those things. I think that's why you and I have remained as close as we have, because I feel like we think on the same wavelength. Like, I'd love Live and Amplified to make $1.5 billion because I'd just be sick. I quit everything else I have to worry about and focus on this. But the day that I do, the day that this does turn into something, everybody that put in their time, like, because today is our 8-year anniversary. I haven't mentioned that yet. But
well, 8 years, dude.
For the podcast. Not for Live and Amplified, it'll 9 years in December.
Yeah, but that's still awesome.
But 8 years for the podcast, and I want to bring I posted this on Instagram this morning. Like, when I eat, everybody else is eating with me, because otherwise, what's the point? You know, it's like, yes, I've lost friends on the way. Like, I've lost relationships. I've lost, you know, like we all have. And it sucks in the moment, but when you get to the finish line, it'll be worth it. So,
and then even like aside from that finish line, is like, it's something a few years ago. Last year's fest, I was a little more sane, but the year before, I was really stressing it and stuff, and I was really trying to figure it out. And then like I said, because of personal issues, and then also just the festival, and then it's like, it ended, or it was Saturday night at like 3:00 in the morning, and I was finally like, oh, I can chill, you know. And I had a few beers and stuff, and I'm listening to the river stage, which is always just a beautiful show. And I'm standing there with my good friend Zach, and I'm like, he's like, well, like, are you enjoying your festival? And I was like, I think this is the first time I have. And then it's like yeah, him or Max said that, I don't remember, but we so last year I made a point. It's like, dude, you got to start enjoying this stuff. Like, and even in my own music, I've definitely had that, and I've been going through a lot lately, just like a lot of self-reflecting stuff. I've been talking to my family and my friends, and I'll say it here for anybody else who's possibly listening. Like, I apologize for like ignoring my phone and doing all this stuff. And it's not because I dislike you, which is, I had a friend that really had a heart-to-heart with me on it. It's like, understand that the past few years I've really been I was being selfish and trying to get myself somewhere. Now I realize, like, and it does get you somewhere, but that's the very people I was just talking about, where you're like, that I'd really despise in the music industry or any industry, where they're just like cutting throats and going up, stepping on backs, which I never was cutting throats or stepping on backs, but I for sure was like gaming, trying to get up, step up. And then you're like, well, what's the point? You see these people that get there and then everybody hates them. Everybody hates them. You know, it's like, and then you're up there with the other people who got there the same way that you got there.
Yeah.
So you're all snakes, and it's like I said, I don't think I was ever that bad, but as far as like just blowing off, like I told you last night, I hung out with my little nephews and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how many times I've driven through this town and could have stopped off and saw them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I'm tired. You know, I played a gig last night. I want to go there. And it's like, no, man. Like, do the things you want to do in your life, do your dreams, but like take care of your friends and family and friendships, because like, or like what we're doing, building this community, because no matter where you get, like, even if you make it to the top of that mountain, you're going to need them to carry you back down. You know?
For sure.
So enjoy what you're doing while you're doing it.
100%. And I don't think I ever felt any of that from you. But then again, like, I mean, we talk, but not like on a weekly, like it'll be a couple months in between times. Like right now, obviously with the festival coming up, it'll be a little bit more frequent than once a month. But after the festival, it's just kind of like, okay, you got your things, I got my things. And but I don't think I ever noticed that. But it's so funny you brought all that up about people coming in for like not the wrong reasons, but selfish motivations, cutting throats, snakes, all that stuff. I've picked all that up on the podcast. Like, there's been some people that I've had on the podcast where it's like they come on, they do their 15 minutes,
they turn it on, they turn it back off. I'm out.
Right, and you know, and like I don't blame them for it. Like they're literally there to promote a thing.
Right.
And I actually had one situation. It's quite funny because there was this girl. She was from down in South Florida, and I had been following her since like 2017. When I was living in Tallahassee, she played a show in Tallahassee for like FSU tailgate or something. It was during football season. And I reached out to her publicist. I was like, hey, doing this radio show thing. Love to have her on, talk about her new. She was doing like an acoustic album. And this was like the first real experience of somebody just coming on to promote their album and not have a conversation. Because I asked her how she was doing. And she was like, oh, I'm doing good. I'm promoting a new album. And she just went into full PR mode. And I'm like, it's a 10-minute interview. Like, I don't care. It's whatever.
Right.
And then so that was like the initial introduction, like where she kind of knew who I was. I knew who she was. And then I went to CRS up in Nashville in February. The last day she reaches out to me, or I'd put out a post like, hey, I've got a couple openings on the last day. With anybody that's at CRS and needs to fill a spot, let me know.
Yeah.
She reached out to me. She was like, hey, I loved our last interview.
What interview?
and she was like, hey, I really enjoyed your last interview. I've always really appreciated your support. I'd love to come on. I was like, well, I've got an opening from this time to this time. Come through. She's like, okay, cool. That interview was completely different. And I'm like, it made me realize, like, not everybody's coming in for like selfish reasons. They just don't like you come into this industry and you can't trust everyone until you get to know them.
Right.
You know, and it's like, I get that.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, there's that side of it too. There's, the true awful ones will continually do it. But but there's some of that too.
I've had somebody tell me that I wasn't worth their time. Like, I was like, okay, so now on my phone, I have their name and then under it, not worth my time.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, cool. If they ever call me again, it's like, nope,
and that stuff. So like, it's just one. Even if like, you know, there truly might be a situation where it's like say like the festival, somebody gets to one, and I hope I'm not only hope, I guarantee you like a good portion of our people are going to be huge one day, and And if they have to tell me, hey man, like, you know, I'm on this tour, I'm dedicated to this and all that, I can't do it. That's one thing. But like being mean, because like understandably, like, oh yeah, you've grown past us. That's fine. But like then you're not worth my time. Like you're not. They will go far probably. It's like, but that's those people. It's like it's just I'm anti that, man. I just can't stand just mean people, awful people, and like. And a lot of people in the music industry are searching for their meaning, and that's why we do this. Like, I've been writing songs since I was a kid. Like, it is something that I wrote them during my hiatus, all that, if you want to call it a hiatus, where I just didn't do performing. I'll always write songs. That is my like form of therapy. But like going out, trying to sing better, trying to dress up, trying to go, yeah, you are trying to get the approval of people because you have something that's lacking in your life from whatever, you know. Yeah. And anybody in the music industry or any kind of entertainment industry that says that that's not the case, you're just lying to yourself. There's some little thing in you, like you want to be seen, you want to be heard, and there's nothing wrong with that either. But then there's the people who get that, or they get to the level that they think, and it's funny because it's on all different levels. There's people on our level or my level of like who like they're like then they're like, okay, well now I'm valued, now I'm going to be a total prick, and it's like all the way up to like people as big as Taylor Swift that's still like, I'm not valued enough, I need more validation. It's like, but the thing I'm railing is not getting your validation, but like to get your validation and then go like, oh yeah, I knew it all along, it was actually the best thing ever, I'm the shit, like piss off, like I don't have time for you, or what. It's like, it's like, no dude, like you're just a bad person,
right? Before we continue, do you have a hard out? Do you have to be out by a certain time, or do you have a gig?
No, I'm fine. I'm just meeting up with a friend of mine.
Okay, I got
later.
you.
But yeah, we're
fine. All right, because I was sitting there, I was like, I could go for another 40 minutes, but if you got to be out,
we'll shoot the shit. I mean, I can't be here till like 3. 2. Let's another 45 minutes. So it's fine.
Yeah, we're good. All right. I forgot to ask before we jumped on. I was oh crap, we've been going for almost an hour and a half already.
Nah, so pretty chill day. Pretty chill day.
No, but the scary part is like you got those people that are like bad people, but you also got like these young musicians that get super famous or get like they're. So not to blow the load, but we had Mason Ramsey on, the yodeling kid from
really?
Yeah,
no way.
His podcast.
He did a serious album though recently, didn't he?
Yeah. He just dropped a serious album.
Yeah.
I met him at CMA Fest, and we sat down and did 10 minutes.
That's so cool.
And that interview will be out in like 2 weeks, I think.
Is he struggling with some of that? Like
no, just.
Not the bad person. I mean, but the shoot up the fame thing.
You can tell he's a good person, but he's just never had to really make any real decisions for himself because like
he was 12 or 13 when that went viral.
Yeah, and he's like 17 now, and I'm sitting there talking with him, and it's like, oh, so tell me about this song, and it's like, it's a song that we put out, and it's like, okay, cool, and in my head, this is kind of like where my head games start coming into play because it's like, all right, we got this guy that he's probably done 1,000 interviews in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
I don't want this just to be another interview.
Right.
Like I want this to mean something, or at least try to mean something. And then I started getting into my own head because I'd ask him a question and he'd be like, no, not really. And it's like, fuck, okay.
Yeah.
So what do you do outside of music? And then we got on like this weird tangent about video games. And I was like, okay.
That's so cool, yeah.
Yeah. He's like, because he grew up like around where I went to school, where I went to college.
Okay.
And so like I kind of knew where he lived, not where he lived, but like the city he grew up in. And so I was hoping that we could talk about that a little bit. And he was just like, oh, you know where Golconda is? And I'm like, yeah, so how'd you like growing? And he's like, yeah, I'm like, fuck, okay, fine. So, and it was one of those things where I got into my head, but you could tell he was a good person because he was like engaged in the conversation.
Sure.
But he hasn't had to really think and make decisions because everybody else is making all his decisions for him. So it's like, come on, guys, let this kid live. Because
you just gotta give me an idea for like that could be one day when I tap out of all this. That'd be kind of a cool, because not just with young artists, but like young actors and actresses. I wonder if there's a position for like people who have like real life experience to like when people get famous like that, like you get hired to like just be their like kind of like a mentor in a way, like to be their down to earth mentor, right? Where you just hang out and be like, hey man, like let's just go like hit some bowling real quick. Let's do some normal teenager stuff, and then also like. It's like, I've worked my entire like life, like these are what real people are like, and not that he's not, but but like when you get casted as a young kid, and then everyone you're around is like looking at you, you are their commodity.
Yeah,
they're how you're gonna, you are how they're gonna pay their mortgage and send their kids to college. Right. So they're just trying, that has to be pretty tough.
Yeah,
like, and I don't know the level of his like chaos around him, but like you see that with like young people that pop off, and it's like. You can only imagine how it has to jack you up a little bit because it's like everyone is looking at you as like an object almost in a way, like you're the thing that's going to get you money, and when you can't do that anymore, then they should wash their hands of you. Like,
and that was what really threw me off, because he comes walking in. And I don't think a lot of people realized who it was, because from the age of 12 or whatever,
he's gone through puberty. Yeah,
he's gone through puberty. He looks I barely recognize him, and I've done my research.
Right.
And from like just his team, he had a road manager, he had his actual manager, he had his PR agent from Atlantic Records.
Yeah, yeah.
He had a video team, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, you have this around you all the time. Like, this would drive me ape shit.
Right.
Like.
Well, too, put yourself, as we just said, going through puberty with all that. Like, because I remember, like, I was a really shy kid. And then once I went through, like, I went through puberty, and, like, in my, like, I went down the road of, like, the badass. I was like, that's how I was going to, like, be an adult, which was the complete wrong way for me to do that. But that's how my angst and testosterone boost manifested at the time. It's like, well, I'm going to be cool and all this. And I turned into hell, dude. Right. If I'd have had a camera crew following me around and had like grown adults like eating out of my hand, oh my God, I'd have been, dude. Yeah. Dude, it'd been bad.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was bad without all that. Right. And I'm sitting here really like processing that right now. Like, oh my God, dude, it's been so bad. I've been such an asshole. Like, not saying he is, I'm saying me. Personally.
You could tell, like, talking, like, getting him to, like, we had a 10-minute interview. It took me like 9 minutes just to get him to, like, realize, like, hey, I'm not trying to get a hit piece off of you. I'm like, I want to know who you are. Like that. It took me like 9 minutes to get that. And then you could tell he was like a good person, and he was raised by the right people. But it was just in this world of social media, he got sucked up into the vacuum, and you've got an opportunity. I wouldn't waste that opportunity. Like, I get a video that goes super viral, and then a year later I'm on a record with Lil Nas X, just like all that stuff. And it's like, hell yeah, let's do that. You know, that sounds fun. But he was engaged like in the conversation, and you could just tell it's like, you could tell the fame's kind of messed with his head a little. Not messed with his head.
Well, but it's I think anybody and everybody it does, and even if you are older and you've had a life of like normal, you see it all the time. Some of those people look at lottery winners, right? Like, they're a good case study for that. Right. Like, you give people attention and money, like, it's pretty hard not to like let it affect you a little bit, right? Yeah. And but too, like in a case like his, it makes me think too, is there, if he has that big of labeling behind him, they've probably put him through like PR coaching too. Like they probably like, or like interview training or whatever, stuff like that. Like, hey, don't answer this, don't do that. And then it being that high profile, like, as you said, like, he's probably gone on some shows who are like, well, let's get him to say something stupid and then try to twist it and make him look like an idiot, because they're going to get their fame from like outing some dumb thing that some kid said, or just some normal thing that a kid would say. Like, so maybe that's part of it too. Maybe he already had a bad experience, and he's like being very cautious with you,
because it was who was the headliner, one of the headliners last year that I had a similar conversation with them.
At my fest?
Yeah, at your fest.
Grady or?
No, it wasn't Grady. It wasn't Fulbright. It was the
Drop Tines.
Drop Tines.
Yeah.
I mean, I was talking to whoever is running their Instagram page. I was like, hey, man, I would love to get you all on the podcast. And they're like, we'd like to, but we've done a lot of these recently, and none of them end up getting released. And I was talking to Tazi, R.I.P. Tazi. I just found that out. And she was like, they're finding out like what they can say on podcasts, what they can't, because they seem like they're kind of an edgy.
Well, when group. They came onto my radar, right when I booked them, things were starting to take off for them, and then by the time they got to the festival, like they were basically, I don't know if they were signed at that very moment, or I think even like
they were in the they were in the process.
So they were going through the whole like, and they're like my age. So like I said, it's like that, and that's too. It's not even the person. It's like, is that whole industry side of things. It's like, I don't know, dude. It's just a lot changes, or even like another headliner of mine. I won't throw names out there. I feel like it's probably uncouth, but when I booked them before, they were with one of the largest like agencies across the country that does TV, film, and music, all that stuff. and the contract for them was horrendous, dude. It was like 30 pages long. I was like, am I getting a divorce here? Or like, what is going on here? This is crazy. And that artist, by the time they got to us, but like basically when I booked them, it was through that other deal. Yeah. And by the time they got to us, there was some like going back and forth and stuff on like things. And I was like, yeah, no, I gave them this, that, and the other. And they were like, oh, and they're like, you probably did. We'll have to hit them up. We've actually dropped them since then, and we've gone back to a local booking agency. And I was really happy to hear that once again, because maybe I'm a little anti-establishment, but it's not even anti-establishment. It's just like some of these stuff gets so big, and there's so many lawyers and all this stuff, and it's like, dude. So I can sit here and rail against social media all day long, but the good thing about it is, like from knowing what I know up to this point. And everything could change if I went viral tomorrow and RCA calls me and says we're going to do all this. That could all change. But the way I currently see it is like if you're out there and you go viral, it's money in your pocket. Right. Not because you went viral. All your numbers just went up. Now start all those places you wanted to book before. Now hit them up. Like all the places who rejected you before, book them. Because they're going to go, oh shit, you have 100,000 followers. This song has 1 million plays. Yeah. Oh wow, yeah, we'll book. And like, I just, and it's funny from what I understand nowadays too, when it comes to labels, like they don't really want people until they hit or go viral. Yeah. And my argument for somebody who's done it on my own, and like I said, it might be a totally different world after there. And there's like, hey, trust me, you don't want to do this on your own. We're going to do this. And maybe I would totally flip flop and you'll see me on a record label if that ever happened. But what I currently know is the only thing that's kept me from playing the festivals and venues that I want to play is my numbers and my talent. You know, I've got to get better and stuff, but that comes with, so when I see people go viral and then they like sign or something, it's like, dude, I don't know, man. I think once you go viral, you could really just kind of keep your career going. But obviously if you're like a younger cat or an older cat who never has done all this stuff and you haven't been road dogging it, you haven't been booking your own gigs, you haven't been organizing festivals or whatever it is, like, but I don't know, like I think like this band I'm referring to that I will not name because I don't want to put their business out there. I think I know who it is. I think I have a feeling. But like they were jumping through the hoops. This giant booking label agency, all this stuff. They do everything. Like they're and they're like, no, we're gonna go back to like a local agency that like, you know, it's like, which goes back to what I was saying about in the world of everything getting so big and so massive. It's like, no, let's just have our community and blow our little community up. But anyway,
I think. Just to kind of expand upon that, I think we're in a world right now where the agencies and corporate music industry is starting to realize that they don't hold all the power anymore. And so they're just trying to grab up anybody that is still willing to, because like, I mean, there's still genres where getting a record deal and signing to
it matters,
WME, you know, like whatever it is,
hint.
It's it's one of those things where it's like that's still like a sign of success or whatever.
And there is doors that they open, because whether we all rail against the machine or not and have our own little festivals and stuff, a lot of festivals and a lot of bars and venues are on contracts with all those previously mentioned kind of agencies and labels and stuff. And like, it doesn't matter how famous you are, viral on your own, you will not book it unless you are under their, 30-page contract. So I understand that too.
Live Nation does, or
like Live Nation tied. There's a lot of bars that are under bars and venues that are all tied to it. Like,
Live Nation, and it's but there's one guy that I've been paying attention to, Oliver Anthony. You know,
So he's an example of somebody. I mean, from what I understand, I think he's pretty much taking it on his own with his friends or whatever.
I think he's maybe signed a distribution deal, but once you get to a certain point, you almost need a distribution deal. Like
you need help. I'm also not saying like turn away all the help, because him in particular, we've had this exact same conversation with my buddy Zach, but we talked about that too. Is like he might be an example of somebody who has gone almost too far. Like, don't make it your identity to like, oh, screw them. It's like, no, there's people that can help you out. Just be cautious. Don't sign the first deal you get. Don't, like I remember in 2019, 2020, Sony was just grabbing all these TikTok kids and like friends of mine. Well, a guy here in town, John Dempsey, he does a lot of stuff.
In Nashville?
Now he's down in Buda. I'm sorry, or Austin.
Last time I talked to him, he said he was moving to Nashville.
Maybe. I don't know. I know he was out there recently, played the Bluebird or whatever.
Okay.
But that was because I think he went out there with, he did Jack Ingram's deal, that Songwriter Texas U, Songwriter U, whatever.
Yeah.
He's part of that also because he was in their showcase some years back. So I think they did a showcase down there. But maybe, I don't know. I haven't talked to him in a few years. But
okay, gotcha.
But he, back in like 2019, something like that, he was telling me his story. Because he does sound, he does everything. He's a well-rounded, in the music. So
yeah.
And he ran sound for this kid who came out and like had this big sold-out show and stuff. And he comes out there and kind of fumbling around stage, and like he said he was fumbling around so bad that he's like thought he was on drugs.
Right.
And he's like, "Hey man, like I get it. We like to party." He's like, "Can I help you out or whatever?" And he's like, "Oh, sorry man, this is just like my third show." He's like, "I don't really know what you're," because he was like, "Hey, plug this in, do that. What do you need for your DI?" And he's like, didn't even know what he's talking about. He's like, "I have a guitar and I sing," which is beautiful and great. But like he was signed to Sony.
Yeah.
He's like, how did? And John's like, how did that happen?
Right.
And I don't know the name of the kid, but he said, how did that happen? He's like, yeah, man, like, I don't know, a few months ago I started posting videos to TikTok and I had some go viral and yeah, they signed me. This is it's like his third or fourth show, something like that. And John's over here like, I'd kill to play this place. And it's sold out, which is beautiful and awesome. But like that kid probably needed that, like don't turn down your opportunities. Just take 5 minutes to if they're calling you, they want you.
Yeah.
And I'm not speaking from experience because nobody wants me. No one's called me up, but I can just like as somebody who's like just worked and been around life.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't have anything going on for you and people are calling you, hitting up, offering you a bunch of stuff, they're probably trying to scam you. And if you do have a bunch of stuff going on from you, they're also probably trying to scam you, but in a legit way. Yeah. What I mean by that is like read your contract, take the contract to a lawyer, take that moment to like, because it's going to be the rest of your life. And I can't say from experience, but like, if you have a TikTok with 1 million followers or 1 million hits on a view or a YouTube video or whatever, it's like you are now a valuable commodity and people will bid for you. Don't screw yourself.
Right.
But also don't turn down the help. Like,
right. Yeah. It's definitely interesting. Cause like we were talking about musicians that are bad people and whatnot. And I mean, we've had this conversation several different times about promoters and PR agents that try and sell you the moon. And it's like, now it's really starting to amplify here because it's like, I'm not going to name names, but I've seen a few managers that are trying to get their start and they'll come to like podcasts like this. And all of a sudden, a week after I have somebody on my podcast, they get signed by a manager, which is great and beautiful and like cool, but then what? Like,
right?
It's they're starting to throw our name around, like, oh hey, you were on this podcast.
Yeah, I don't like that either. Yeah. When people try to do that, or I had a actually they're local to here, and offered their services to me, and I was like, well, where are you booking?
Yeah,
and they were like, here and here. I was like, I already booked there.
Yeah.
Myself. Why would I need your cut? I said, but you can quote unquote represent me, like, but get me something or shit. So then it was like they did a post like, oh, now under our representation, Dustin Brown. Yeah. Cool. Never booked me a gig, never nothing. And then for like the next year, every time I posted any gig, they reshared it, which cool. Thanks for the reshare. But usually when you reshare something like oh hey, like, but they're resharing it from their page that is a booking agency. And
is this the conversation, the agency we've talked about before?
Maybe we have talked about it. Yeah, but it what I felt like, the way it looked to me is every time they would share that, is that they never said it like straight up, hey, we booked this gig, but like they left it open. They left it open-ended, so it's like, well, you're clearly posting from a booking agency page, and I'm playing this like a show I worked really hard to get on, or get booked at, that I've taken me 2 years to get to the bookie, and then you just reshared it kind of in a way that almost represents like you booked it. And it took about a year of them doing that, and I said, hey, you can share on your private page. Quit doing that, like, because it seems to me like you're trying to make it look like you booked that for me, and you did not. You didn't do anything for me.
If it's the agency, I think it is.
It's got to be.
I've had some issue. I don't think they're as active anymore.
No, I don't think they did a whole lot.
I know a couple of people that are that as of like last year, they're still on their page, on their signed page. And, you know, kudos to them, because the people that I'm thinking of, like, they're good people. Like, I enjoyed having them on and chatting with them or whatever. But I also used to get into screaming matches with one of their PR, or the PR agents. They're like, oh, you can't do this. And I'm like, fuck you. Yes, I can.
Yeah, do what I need to do.
Yeah. And they were getting mad because I was trying to confirm stuff through text messages, because at the time I was getting so many freaking emails. I was losing emails. And it's like, text messages, it's all right there. Right. I don't lose text messages. And they reached out to me. They're like, hey, you can't
but they feel like you were circumventing them or something.
Yeah. And it's like, no, screw you.
Yeah.
Get out of here. So,
well, too, there's a lot of people that just, what I've deduced and put together on it is that, like, I guess there's people that are real music fans and they want to be part of the scene, or they want to be part of this, that, and the other. So then they're like, well, I can't sing, play, or do this. They're like, I'm going to start an agency, which seems like the most weirdest way to do it. I think they'd rather like go be like, do like a local interview show, or they go to the show and they're like even like start a podcast. They're like, that's your best way to get backstage. It's like, well, hey, I do this like local thing, and I'm going to interview people and stuff like that. But like, there's a lot of them that go to the agency route, and it's just really that one is still, it's taken me 7 years to like really understand, like, or I still don't understand how baffling it is. It's just very confusing why they take that route. But like, they're like, oh, I'm an agent, I do this, do that. Here, you know, this is my percentage, and you get all like I've even signed like contract agreements, super legit, and then
nothing,
you sit there, and then they get you a gig, and it's like, cool, it's literally at the coffee shop that I've already booked 10 times before. Oh, but now you're going to take 20% off the little to no money that I'm already making.
$40.
I'm like, what is going on here?
Right.
Like, why? Not on my end, because I can just back out of it. Doesn't, whatever. I've moved on past many of those people, but it's just strange to me that there must, you know, kind of like people who are into feet or something. Like, I don't know, because there's something's different in some people's brains. They're like, I want to be a booking agent, but have no idea how to book. And I don't know, and I'm not saying you can't learn. Yeah. I don't even know how to book. I just email till I get a gig, you know, like, but I mean, like, how are you going to go out and represent yourself as like this agency and stuff? And then it's like, okay, I got you a gig at the golf course. Like, yeah, I could have got that too. Like, I don't, and maybe it's like for volume's sake, sure. It'd be great if I like all the same gigs that I've always booked and somebody was handling it for me for that percentage. Okay. You've taken that workload off me, but they always come at you like, oh yeah, like and you get excited, like oh, they're connected and stuff. It's like, oh no, they just literally go to all the concerts, and it's just a really weird genre of people. I'm not angry at them. I don't think they're bad people. I'm just like, why does this exist? Like,
I've actually turned down opportunities to be like a booker for people. You know, my buddy, his band, they were trying to come out here to Texas, and he's like, hey, we're trying to book a tour. You want to book it for us? It's like, I don't know the first thing about booking. I don't have time. Not that I don't have time, but the amount of time that it's going to take me to figure out and learn the proper way about going about booking. Y'all, anything that I'm going to get, y'all could get on your own. Like,
and that's the thing. It's like, I've always been willing to pay for it if like you give me something for my money. Yeah. But if you're just going to book me the same old stuff, well, I'll book the same old stuff. Now, I said in the other example, all right, book all the stuff I currently book, but I don't have to do the back and forth. Cool. Yeah. But I've had agreements with people to do that too, who it's like, and then they put me back behind because I'm sitting over here thinking they're booking for me. I'm like, hey, you got anything? They're like, oh, nothing's come through. I'm like, or like, I haven't got to it. I'm like, well, you understand you need to do that now for 2 months ahead of time. Yeah. So now I'm behind. Now I'm going to be down for 2 months with no gigs. Like, I've never had and also it goes back to like where you're at in the game, I guess. I've never had so yeah, if you're small or starting out, unless you know somebody is just an ace in the hole. Yeah. I personally have and I've gone through dozens of people, never had a good experience, you know, which that goes back to that. Yeah. Once you're a valuable commodity and the labels and the agencies are really coming at you and they can give you a list that says, these are the places I book for and they're all really cool venues. And these are the people I've booked for and they're really all cool acts. If they don't have any of that, like, you don't need them. They waste your time. And I sound bitter and mean, but like, I have good reason to be bitter. I've just never had a good experience. And the only time I lost money was that B squared stuff. Those people were clearly a scam, but like, in my opinion, you don't have to comment on it. But, Yeah.
I've already made my comments very public.
Complete scam. And that was the one time I went on a limb. I was like, Dustin, don't be so pessimistic. You got to trust people. And that was the one time they totally scammed me. But the other ones are always percentage based, which it should be.
Yeah.
So if they don't book you nothing, you haven't lost nothing either. But if you're just getting started out, or you're like me, you're kind of deep in it, I still book myself. It's just not.
Yeah.
Until I find somebody that can like actually get me something good, it's like whatever, man.
For sure.
That should be the whole point. It's like you're supposed to, I'm hiring you to level me up or to take the workload off me. And if you can't do either of those things, then I don't know. Yeah,
for sure. It's something that I'm starting to get back into, because like we mentioned an hour 45 ago, that, we're trying to take the podcast and do it on the road and all that stuff. So I've been trying to, like, I don't have all the free time or all the money in the world, so it's like I gotta be very selective about where it's like, okay, well, we can do like a show here because I can get there in 3 hours and it's not gonna cost me an ass load of money, like all this stuff. So I'm still trying to figure that whole situation out and just trying to get a hold of venues and trying to educate them, like, hey, this isn't like a straight up music, like there'll be there's musical elements, but it's not a straight up music show.
Yeah.
And so trying to educate people on what it is been a very interesting dynamic. So, but anyways, so we got the festival coming up here, mid-October somewhere.
October 17th to 20th.
Yeah.
And we're not doing Wednesday this year. We're going to do Sunday.
Okay.
So it's going to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday we have a few acts playing out through the day so everybody can just chill out, hang out, and then go home at like, later in the day, or just buy another night through Mountain Breeze, and just stay,
Gotcha. So you're not doing the, like last year you did the like open mic or whatever on Sunday.
So that's moving to Sunday.
Okay.
That's kind of how that's working. So yeah, there'd be and speaking of open mics, there was an open mic Friday morning from noon to 1, and there's an open mic Saturday from like 11 to 1 or something like that. So if you're somebody who wants to get in on our radar and show up, you will have to buy a ticket and just attend as a normal person.
Yeah.
But as a ticket holder, you can be there. We're going to put a sign up out the night before for each one. So if you're there participating, you can get in on that. And then on Sunday, there'll be an open mic for a couple hours. So I think we're going to do it in the morning from 11 to noon. And then we have a few scheduled acts. And then at like 2 or 3, we're going to open it up again if there's anybody there. And it's free to play.
Okay. So Sunday... Because that's the one thing I noticed last year was there was a lot of people kind of just hanging out Sunday.
Yeah.
Which was cool.
That's why I wanted to do something.
Yeah, that's cool. I enjoy that. But if people want to buy tickets, all that fun stuff, where's the best place to get all that information?
Yeah, just www.inajamdownbytheriver.com. And then for my music and stuff is just www.dustinbrownsongs.com, and that's the socials for both of those, is as our web address. And yeah, but I hope to see y'all down by the river. Just come hang out. It's gonna be really chill and good time.
Awesome. And if you show up this year, you'll probably end up in a documentary.
Hell yeah.
I don't know if that's a selling point.
We're gonna hold him to it.
I don't know if that's a selling point, but maybe it is. Who knows?
Yeah. Hey man, I've been saying this a lot. I just told it to Aaron the other day on off record. Is like something that's when you first get started out in music, you don't see the end or whatever you're doing in life, any career like that. And then you get deeper into it. Then you can start saying, oh, wow, well, we've come from that to this now the way my brain works. And like, I'm looking at 5 years from now or 10 years from now. I'm still enjoying the moment. But like, I'm so excited to see where you're at 10 years from now, where Aaron and where all of our friends, all of our artists, all of our musicians, and like, and where the festival's at. And it's like not living in the future, I'm living now, but like, it's like, oh, cool. Well, these 5 years just flew by.
Well,
so 5 years from now, let's see what happens.
Because the issue I had with Live and Amplified originally was we weren't seeing the growth. Like, yes, there would be growth, but it wasn't like, oh, from day 1 to day 90. But you saw like day 1 to day 10 there was growth, and then from day 10 to day 70 there was, so like there was growth, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
And like from like just to give it a hard date, from last year's festival till now, the growth has been consistent. Like, and it's partially I'm in the right frame of mind right now.
Yeah.
Like you, I have my ups, my downs, and next Sunday I could be laying in bed until 4 p.m. because oh, why won't anybody, all that stuff. But for the most part, like, just things are clicking right now, which is great. And you got to ride that bike as long as the wheels are moving and the pedals are moving. So, and I feel that for the festival, and I'm glad year 5 will be here, and, we'll live in the moment, enjoy year 5 for what it is, and then we'll see what year 6 brings. And 7, I don't want to put all that on you, but
no, but I mean, I just mean in life in general, just all my friends and family and whoever. It's like, it's I'm not saying we're like rolling it either. It's still tough times, but like, just in life, it's like 5 years down the road, everybody's gonna be a little different, a little better, a little worse, whatever. It's just, I'm excited to see where everything goes,
and just kind of seeing you and your mute, because I remember a conversation you and I had off record about how everything with your mute, just like some conversations we had, and just kind of seeing where you're at now. It's like, man, we just had a conversation like 3 months ago that all like all these things, but yet you've been, what have you released, like 4 songs in the last 3 months?
I've done 6 singles over 6 months. Yeah. Okay. And then this would have been the 7th one that I did the co-release with Presley, and it's, I'm not, I
feel like I've had Presley on the podcast. I have to go back because there's some times
maybe they step by. Yeah. You should though this year though. Her and Nick are great.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's honestly, like I said, with this really, like I saw some growth with the 6 month plan.
Yeah.
Because everything's just organic. Recently I just started running ads on Facebook and Instagram, all disclosure, but up until like a month ago. And by the way, the ads are not what got me the numbers I got right now. There's just to keep myself relevant and keep it out there and stuff. But
I will to piggyback off that, like, because I definitely had that mindset. I know we were gonna end this like 10 minutes ago, but because back when we first started, I was like, I'm not paying for jack shit. I'm not paying for ads. I'm not doing any of it because I want it to be organic. I want people to be here because they're here.
Yeah.
But the reality of today in social media, today in marketing, there's so much content out there. The only way you're going to be able to stand out is if you get stupid lucky with a video that just clicks and like gets reshared to all hell, like it's either that or you're going to end up having to pay for some advertisement down the line.
Well, and two, like my justification behind the advertising is when I see people like just running ads on their Instagram for followers, I don't know. I do not think that. I think that's almost more.
It doesn't help.
No, I think it's worse than like aiming for virality. Yeah. Because if anything, because this is what people didn't understand is like once you've ever paid for an ad on your Instagram, Facebook, something like that, you're marked. They're like, oh, this dummy will do it again. Not that we're dummies, but it's like. So if you're only paying for followers and your plan is like, well, I'll build my following through paid advertising, and then I'll stop doing ads, and then I'll just try to be organic. It's never, because all the people you get there are just going to be bots or weird shit. Like, use the promotion, like use your social media like a billboard. Like if you have something to promote, I have singles to promote right now. That's what I'm promoting. When I see people promoting like, visit my Instagram, and then you go there and it's literally just like some young 20 some odd dude or girl who's like, I'm like, what are you doing, man? Right. Like this is not how, I don't know, maybe I'm completely wrong on that. How I personally feel, and I feel like it's wrong. But like I'm running ads right now to promote the singles, promote the festival and stuff like that. You have it's a billboard. So if you have you have the podcast, you have a product to promote, treat it like that. But promote and just trying to grow your following on there. Best way to do that, go like people's videos, go comment on people's videos. The interaction. That are like, don't go straight to somebody with 1 million followers. Go to people in your community and comment and like their stuff. Hey, follow people. And don't unfollow when they follow you back. Don't be a shitty person. Like that's how you're going to grow your community on your online stuff. And then run ads when you have something to promote.
The one thing that's really started working for me, like, because back early on during the pandemic, I did that where I was running ads to grow the
and we've all been guilty.
Yeah, and it's like, cool, I got my Facebook following up to like 8,000 people. That's great. But I go post something on Facebook.
Nothing. Ghost town.
And it's like, okay, that sucks.
Yeah, because you once paid for it. They're like, he'll do it again. So don't give him any likes. Don't give him any interaction until you pay for it.
So what I started doing on Instagram, and I just started doing this like 2 weeks ago. And I've seen, like, it's not like rapid growth, but it's like I was stagnant for 3 months where I was like, I'd gain 2 people, but then I'd lose 3. I'd gain 4 and I'd lose, just kind of that area. And to the losing followers,
a lot of times it's running ads or adding, now they got the new feature, you at followers.
Yeah.
A lot of time you lose followers from that. So keep that in mind.
Yeah. So what I started doing on Instagram was, it's like, well, I've got all these contacts and musicians that, had on the podcast or whatever. So what I started doing was every day I reach out to 3 musicians that I've had on the podcast. Just like, it does 2 things. It gets me back in front of their eyes, like especially if it's somebody that I don't get to talk to a whole lot, or like we did our podcast and we haven't talked since.
Yeah.
It gets me back in front of their eyes to be like, oh, hey, yeah, he actually cares. Because I don't go like, hey, you want to do a podcast? It's,
what's
hey,
up? Yeah.
How you doing? I hadn't talked to you in a while. Hope you're well. Mm-hmm. It's like comes from a very genuine place. And yeah, not everybody responds, but that's fair. Like it's Instagram. I know what
it goes back to it's like, be genuine.
Yeah.
Like that's what I meant about, so a lot of people, I'll be dead honest with you. One of the newest features I just cannot, everything Facebook, Instagram bugs me anyway, because especially Instagram's now doing what Facebook used to do, which they own them, is the like ghost notifications. So it makes you get on there and it's just like, oh, this is somebody you should be following. It's like, that's not a notification. Yeah. That's like, I want to know what's happening to me. But also on Facebook, I got 25 notifications. All of them were like, oh, someone mentioned you in your post. Like, oh, cool, they mentioned me? No, they mentioned their followers. And it's like, the people I still love and care about, I'm not going to unfollow them. But there's like all these bars and venues and stuff that like I've followed over the years just because we interact together that are now doing the at their followers things, and I unfollow. I'm like, you've spammed, because now you feel like you're being spammed. Same thing with running ads. You can actually, I've seen that you lose followers because like they followed you because they like you.
Yeah.
Now they're seeing your post 10 times a day that's sponsored. They're going to go, okay, well, I'm done with this person, and they unfollow you. So like, just keep that. It goes with everything in life. Like, just be genuine, be honest, be real. And if you are going to run ads, just try not to be spammy about it. Like in my case, I'm sure I'm spamming some people. I'm sure some people have unfollowed me and they're annoyed by it. But for the most part, it's like, here's my new single. That's what I'm promoting. I'm doing that. But like, but when I get a promoted ad for somebody who's like, follow my Instagram, and you go and it's them just like hula hooping, I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Also, and it's not their fault. Everybody wants to be, there's that particular example, they're probably following 10 people who have 100,000 followers and all they do is hula hoop every day or whatever. It's like, but they hit it when it was organic. You gotta remember that both these platforms are captured and ruined. Like and even people who look like they're coming up organically,
they're not.
A lot of them are on labels and stuff, and they're running ghost ads and stuff that don't have this, like it's all a conspiracy, man.
But like, no, I get it.
But like, I don't know, like, and I don't know why I'm preaching either. Yeah. I'm really preaching at myself.
But
yeah, it's like
to go back, kind of the original sentiment was the authentic connection is where it is, and it's like you're not going to have an authentic connection with everyone. Like I'm sure you've had musicians that you've either had at the festival that you're like, okay, this seems like a genuine person, and then it's like I remember a situation last year that happened.
There's been a couple of years. Yeah. Most everyone is wonderful. I've only had a few people that we ended up not vibing anymore.
Yeah. But and that's going to happen in anything you do, and you figure that one out relatively quickly. But the people you build that connection with, when they have their next single, those are the people that are going to reach out to you. Like, hey, like in your situation, it's like, hey, I got a new single. I'm doing a show in Buda or whatever. You want to get on that? And it's like I think just in the creative general space, as long as you're being authentic and you're reaching out to them and keeping that line of communication open, and it's not always yes, it has to remain professional, but it doesn't always have to be business.
Right. And we're all on a common goal and stuff. But people know. People suss you out so quick, and like I think your best bet is building your community, making your friends, doing your thing, and you're all in the common goal together. But like people know, people can see when you're just trying to stepstone them or whatever. Or like in my case, like I keep saying about this newest single, Think of You, like Presley helped me. Her profile is doing great right now. So like for the first time in the past like few years of me putting out music, like I said, the past 6 months I've had organic growth. Which is still not in the thousands or whatever, but for me it's like forever I was stuck on this number, and then it tripled. Does that mean tripled? I'm still not like, it's not big for me, but it's big for me. It's not big to everyone else. And then she comes along and we do this single together, and her profile is doing good right now. So if anything, like, it's helping you. Thank you to her. It's like she's helping me, and my numbers are the biggest it's ever been. It's like I'm like, wow, okay, cool. It's like, but it was that a transaction? No, it's like we're in the same scene together, like we spend time together, and she's way more better than I am. But I've put in enough groundwork in the scene that like she respected me enough to like, yeah, I want to sing all that with you. And it's like, even though she's way better, she's so talented, and it's like, and that's her profile proves that, you know, it's like, but yeah, so like, are there people who would have like, well, let me get in there to like, you know, like pay somebody to be on something, or I'll pay an Instagram influencer. It's like, no, man, just back to what we said way at the beginning of the conversation. It's like, be part of your community, do cool shit, be nice to people, be yourself. Yeah. For the most part. I'm guilty of not being myself all the time for sure. But like, so yeah, and that's my very local, very small example of like just being friends with somebody whose career is doing much better than mine, and who she respects my stuff and was willing to sing on my song, and now it's helped my career, quote unquote. You know, still very small. I'm not famous. Nothing went viral, but it's like for me, I'm like, oh shit, it's the first time I've actually been on my Spotify for Artists app and actually seen that somebody's currently listening while I'm looking at the app or whatever, which is all goofy and stupid, but it's like
you on the app and you realize, oh hey, there's actually a cent that I can, a tangible amount of money that I can pull from here.
Right. But it's just like, but yeah, it's like, and too, on that same note, I'll tell people when they like see a scene or something, they're like, oh, I'm not part of that, and they're like, oh, screw those guys. Where it's like, no, like that scene is like what we're doing. They're all friends, you know. They're friends. They're putting a thing together. They've done a thing. They've grown together, and now that they're where they are, you want to be with them. Yeah. And it's not that they don't want to be with you or join you in, but like they work their asses off to get to create that scene and create that little group or whatever it is, and like, they're not all evil and all that stuff either. It's like no, it's like. You by the time you've heard about a scene, it's too late. You're probably not going to get in on it. Well, because your best bet's go make your own scene, start drum festival, make your own friends, go to the open mics, do podcasts. Don't be a dick. Yeah, and like things will slowly come, you know, brick by brick.
It's one of those things. I saw this on Instagram, and this will be kind of like the last thought. Sure. I was. What's that?
I got to pee. So let's.
No, you're good.
I'll let you finish it out. You round it out.
And so I saw this quote that said, just because I don't mess with you doesn't mean I don't want to see you eat. I just don't want you to eat at my table. Yeah. And it's like, that sums up this entire industry in general. Just because I don't mess with you or fuck, it said fuck with you, but I was just trying to.
I think I've seen that. It's probably from some rapper guy or something, like some quote or somebody.
And it's like, it makes sense. And it's like, that needs to be a t-shirt right there. Like, but you know, it is what it is. And I think that kind of sums up this entire conversation pretty tightly. Yeah. But I really appreciate your time. I've absolutely enjoyed this conversation. It's always interesting when I have somebody that I'm close with and, you know, had on the podcast several different times. I think you're easily approaching top 10 most frequent
nice
podcast guests. I have to go back and crunch those numbers, but you know, so it gets to a point where it's like, I don't know whatever we'll talk about, but at least with the festival, it's like, you know,
like to our point, I mean, you're my bud too. It's like, if anything, it's like, I think what we've been doing the past hour and a half or whatever, it's like just bullshit. Like, like, is this what I would talk to you normally?
This is how the podcast started, going back to 8 years. I was actually watching the original interview, and it's me with a Shure 58 in my hand, and there's a group of 4 guys sitting over here. They're not even mic'd. I'm just holding the mic, and I'm just like doing one of these numbers, and I'm like, boy, that is the most. And the only reason I got the recording, my interface didn't record, but the only reason I got the recording was because I was streaming live on Facebook.
Wow.
And so it's like this weird.
So the mic is just a prop at that point.
Yeah, and so it's just like this weird thing, and I'm like, huh. Okay, here we are. But, you know, I still talk to the band pretty consistently. Like, one of their, I think their guitarist is, like, he does a lot of, like, music industry, like, shorts. Like, hey, you want to get booked on a tour, don't be a jack, you know, like that type of stuff. So, yeah. But I really appreciate your time. We're going to wrap this one up. It's been a long time since I've gone 2 hours on a podcast.
Cool, man. Cool.
But appreciate you, and we will see y'all later.